Alrighty, we are officially live on the final day, the grand finals of Party Brawl number 5, hosted by the Party People server and Becky. I am Vestborgr, providing play-by-play commentary along with my faithful color caster Eohdorr. Today we are here to see the first best of 3 matchup between the Outlaws, who were victorious in the winners bracket on day 1, and Diggers Union, who were victorious in the losers bracket on day 2. So basically how this works is that if the Outlaws win this first best of 3, then they win the entire thing. They're the champions. However, if Diggers Union win this best of 3, because they only were victorious on day 2, they actually have to play a second best of 3 to determine the winner of the tournament. So, I think me and Eohdorr, at the very least, will be rooting for a long haul here, some more League of Legends action, and 2 full best of 3 series. So, best of luck to both teams. We'll be looking forward to that. What we're hearing right now is the game should be getting into Champion Select in a couple of minutes. We're in the lobby right now, just both teams asking for a little bit of time until we actually can start our first match of the Grand Finals. With that in mind, Eohdorr, I kind of want to throw it over to you. Any predictions or players to watch in this particular matchup? A rematch, obviously, because on day 1 of the tournament, these two teams played, and I gather it was a pretty close affair.
It was definitely close. Ezreal building his lead over in the bot lane, 8-0, but Fizz becoming his own terror of the Rift. You could say that it was a little bit more one-sided because of how many more kills the Ezreal had, but the Fizz had such an impact that I want to say yes, it was relatively close. If the bot lane for the side of Diggers Union had fared a little bit better against the Ezreal-Soraka combo, it could have easily tilted into the victory for them, and we could be looking at an entirely different situation.
Well, certainly hope that we see, some close games today. Looking forward to seeing both these teams in action. I actually have not seen the Outlaws play yet because I did not cast the winners bracket. We've been able to follow a lot of games that the Diggers Union played, of course. But I gather Outlaws have some interesting picks. I think I heard some tales of an AP Kog'Maw mid. Is that correct?
An interesting decision by Deltrice. Definitely not something we were expecting by any stretch of the imagination. Didn't do too well the first game, but looking at the stats, pulled it off again in the second game. Wasn't really too much of a star player in that one, dealing only 17% of the team's damage, if I recall. But the third game, the finals of the winners bracket, became a true terror against the Lucian mid, who we thought would take him out quite easily. Lucian mid being a very aggressive pick, but the Kog'Maw, AP Kog'Maw just pulling through. It was quite an interesting pick, and we're going to be curious to see if he's still going to want to pull that out here, considering the only team that Kog'Maw mid truly did lose in the beginning was against Kite.
And of course, if you were watching yesterday, as I was, you got a chance to see Kite in action. Certainly fearsome player there in the mid lane, helping his team immensely. But the entirety of Diggers Union played very well. One thing I'm going to be keeping an eye on is I heard that Johnny was a pretty prominent jungler for his team during the winners bracket. And myself, I've also got my eye on Sir Cave there, the old Warwick player for the side of Diggers Union there in the jungle. Certainly very instrumental early on. A lot of ganks, a lot of aggression, a lot of invades. Worked out pretty well for him just about all of the time. So definitely keeping an eye on that jungle matchup. Do you have any thoughts on perhaps how these two players might match up, Ayo?
It wasn't really someone that we gave MVP to during the first time around. I believe, if I remember correctly, I did give the MVP over to Jax during the third game, and MVP over to Ezreal during the first game, but you can't count out Johnny. He did really well during the first and second game. And third game, he landed so many crucial Zac ganks during the bot lane and top lane. Crazy tower dives. Escaping with minuscule amounts of HP, burning his passive, and then going right back under that tower. No fear on this man with the Zac. So definitely an understated player. Did pretty well during the whole thing. And Sir Cave doing pretty well throughout the losers bracket. Both of them have had huge impacts on their games, despite winning MVPs or not. So definitely something to be looking forward to.
That'll be exciting to watch. Eager as well to see if we see the return of that AP Kog'Maw mid. I know Deltrice known for a lot of cheesy or interesting picks in any lane, so even if the Kog'Maw's banned away or doesn't show up, could be fun to see what else he has up his sleeve.
I would like to see another AP Kog'Maw, but only for the sake of seeing something interesting being played.
Absolutely. Interesting stat I'm just hearing from Becky in the Twitch chat. Apparently Kite has been to every single grand finals of the Party Brawl and has only lost once. I believe that was to the Sultan Warriors, if I remember correctly. But very, very exciting stat to hear there. Kite obviously demonstrating not just skill in the game, but consistency there, making it to every single finals and winning almost every single one. Perhaps our homegrown faker of the Party People server of the Party Brawl. So, definitely going to see if that record of, let's see, 3-1 in these finals overall so far turns into 4-1 or drops to 3-2 at the hands of the Outlaws for Kite. Be fun to see.
He's also got quite the champion pool, displayed skill on multiple champions. I believe he's shown plenty of Fizz, definitely has shown terrifying Echo, terrifying Zoe, terrifying Galileo. It's just plenty of champions that you either have to dedicate them all to Kite just to kind of force him into a certain champion, but then you leave everybody else's favorite picks up, and that may not be something that you're willing to go for. So curious to see if Kite's going to get shut down by Johnny early on. They did find their win through Baz and Josh and Azir Candy over in the bot lane through getting their AD carry fed often early, and Kite just not getting far enough with Fizz to make a difference when it came down to the very end of the game. But we'll have to see.
And we are into Champion Select here for the grand finals of Party Brawl 5. We'll see what these first bans are. Certainly eager to see if perhaps some target bans come out, and they will. That Rakan, I believe, directed at Pedwick, who looked very impressive on that engaging support yesterday. See what the response is from Diggers Union. It's going to be the Gnar. Certainly powerful in the top lane right now. And the Warwick taken away from Sir Cave. I was curious if we'd see that. Certainly looked very comfortable on the champion, but he'll have to find something else to play in this particular match. And the Shen ban is going to come in as well. I'm not sure, Ayo, if these top lane bans are directed at Zakam or not.
Zakam has shown Jax in the second and the third, and Renekton in the first. So not something that he's shown in these matches quite yet. But I would wager to believe that was no accidental ban. But give me a moment.
Indeed, and Echo taken away from Kite, probably his most played champion. I'm not sure, certainly one of his favorites it seems. Won't be available today, but the Ezreal locked in for Bazan Josh. I heard from Eohdorr himself that this is a comfort pick for Bazan Josh, and he looked very impressive on it in the winner's bracket. Go ahead and lock that in. We'll see what the response is from Diggers Union. Caitlyn has been locked in. So we're going to have a Caitlyn Ezreal matchup in the bot lane, getting those 80 carries locked in early in the draft. Sir Cave now picking, doesn't have the Warwick available.
Nothing like hundreds of games played on Shen, but definitely someone that he's plenty experienced with, as it seems to indicate.
I see. Ooh, and the Kayn is locked in by Sir Cave. So we'll see how he looks on the champion as opposed to the Warwick. Kai'Sa was hovered, but it's going to be a different Void jungler. Kha'Zix locked in for Johnny. Meanwhile, Sion being hovered here by Deltrice. Curious if this is the Sion mid we've seen a lot in professional play. Time running out before locking it in, and it is locked in. We'll have to wait and see what that is. If it is the Sion mid, it could throw off Digger's Union slightly, as they've thrown 2 bans at topside already, and they might not be sure if that Sion is going top or mid.
It is noteworthy that Sir Cave has played a lot of Kayn. This is his favorite champion to play this season, with 48 games already played, and has got a lot of games in normals played with it. So given over a very comfortable pick on Kayn. He didn't seem to do too amazing in the first game, but looking to redeem the Kayn this time around.
Interesting. Well, we'll be eager to see if there is that redemption coming out. So Janna is going to be the first ban by Digger's Union, perhaps perplexed by that Sion pick. The only thing they can for sure throw bans at is support. They know that hasn't been picked. Although Sion support is played somewhat frequently, so Sion a very smart flex pick here, most likely by the side of the Outlaws, as they ban away the Galio. Another strong pick for Kite in the mid lane, not available.
Just trying to make sure that his options aren't as varied. Another support, that's 3 supports so far targeted towards Azure Candy. Perhaps trying to make sure that bot lane doesn't have as easy of a time scaling as they did the first time around.
I wouldn't be surprised if this is a case of the Kayn and then Kite looking for some sort of bursty assassin. They don't want the Janna, they don't want the Soraka, they don't want anybody that can mitigate that. They want to just burst people down without fear of all the heals, shields, and disengage. Not to mention, they don't know where the Sion is going, but it seems they're guessing he is not support. Syndra locked in, actually, so wanting to eliminate some supports perhaps that could prevent that Syndra ult from coming through. There is a decent delay on it, certainly something that a Soraka, Janna, and Nami could help prevent. But Renekton being hovered here, this would imply Sion is most likely going mid lane. And the Renekton locked in for Zakam in the top lane, it looks like.
Syndra definitely fitting along the style that Kite has been known to show throughout these tournaments. Some kind of heavy burster like Syndra, all you have to do is press R, and in 80% of the situations they are down in the dirt wondering what just happened. So it does look like it is a Sion mid.
See what the lock in here. It's going to be the Lulu, so unfortunately just too many healing, shielding supports available, and the Lulu is picked up by Azure Candy. However, worth noting, Lulu, a pretty abusive laner, can dish out a lot of poke damage. We'll see how the Braum and Caitlyn can contend with that. Caitlyn, of course, with that handy range advantage over just about anyone on the Rift. But the Urgot is the final lock-in for Necroptics. Looked good on the champion before. When Maokai was banned, this was his go-to pick. But this time he's playing it into a Renekton.
It is it's still very fun to see the Urgot pick. Another fun tourney fact, Azure Candy is the only other girl other than myself to make it to the grand finals.
Very interesting.
That is interesting indeed.
Groundbreaking there. Well, we'll see how the Ezreal and the Lulu fare there in the bot lane up against the Caitlyn Braum. Also, it should be fun to see Syndra against Sion in the mid lane. Again, Sion mid, something played throughout professional play, especially in Korea. Just about every single LCK game, I think the last 2 weeks, has featured a Scion mid, and I'm not sure what the win rate is, but in my mind it's got to be something like 60-70%, if not higher. It's been basically something nobody has had a solution to. Now, I believe his E was changed somewhat. There was some sort of bug where the hitbox detection on it was ridiculously large. So I'm not sure how much that affects his viability in the mid lane, but certainly not something Deltrice is going to care about too much. This is a guy known for just taking out whatever picks he feels like, and he's feeling Scion mid right now.
Possibly just trying to pick the off no expects. Not oh, this is clearly where they're throwing them for a loop. And if this does work, he could set it far enough to possibly build another lead for Beth and Josh, or maybe Johnny will take the scene. Kha'Zix is definitely strong assassin when he gets ahead. Kayn being the other side of that coin, the same job applies to him. If they get ahead, either one of these junglers, and both of them are heavily ganking influencers, this could be a real problem for the laners.
You went robotic for a bit there, AO, but I believe it's back to normal. Not sure whose side that is.
I believe it's yours because I saw the stream lagging. Well, actually, no, I saw the stream lagging, so technically speaking, it still could be me.
Well, good to hear you're back to your human self for now.
I just needed to replace, you know, some RAM, had to process some information. Anyways, so Kayn and Kha'Zix, strong assassins, strong if they get ahead. Gonna see who's gonna become more ganking, a bigger ganking influence.
Should be fun to see two very exciting champions, very bursty assassin type of champions there in the jungle. Should be fun to see. I'm kind of curious about the Caitlyn against the Ezreal, though, AO. Ezreal first picked, and Caitlyn was pretty quickly locked in for the side of Digger's Union against Bazanjosh's Ezreal. What do you think about that matchup there?
It's hard to say. Ezreal's Qs can be hard to land, and Caitlyn's can go straight through the waves. But when Caitlyn gets up close to try to harass Ezreal, it's an easy way to say, "Hey, Lulu, come hit me. I'm a wide open target." I would imagine that with the poke that the Ezreal and Lulu will have, they'll have the advantage over Caitlyn and Braum. But Caitlyn's harass can hurt on her own, and it all comes down to how Braum uses those shields.
Will be fun to see. Of course, a good Braum player able to mitigate a lot of that, stop things like that Ezreal ulti and that Lulu poke, as well as AO mentioned. So we'll have to see. Pedwink looked pretty good on the Braum before. I believe the last time he played this Braum, it was when the Rakan was a band away, and we questioned, could he play this a little bit different style of support? And he did a pretty admirable job of it. Checking out the summoner spells, Pedwink actually has gone with the Ignite, whereas Azer Candy is sticking with the typical supportive Exhaust. Ezreal, of course, with the Kleptomancy, Caitlyn with the Fleet Footwork. Braum sticking with Guardian, whereas Lulu going with that Aerie, getting a little bit of extra poke damage and helping out those shields. No big surprises, I think, in the mid lane, with Deltrice picking up the Comet on Scion, proc that on the E. And then Syndra, of course, with the Electrocute. Urgot going with the Comet as well in top lane, Renekton with that buff press the attack. Will be something to look out for. A more powerful Keystone at this point. So we'll see how much of an impact the Renekton can have with that. Perhaps of interest, Sir Cave on the Kayn in the jungle, going with the Dark Harvest.
Definitely, it's a mastery, or it's a keystone that I'm not too familiar with. Like I believe I remember reading about it early on and told it works some way, and then told later it didn't work that same way. So I'm not sure what to think about it, but definitely makes me think that seems so standard for Kayn. Like, it doesn't seem like Electrocute's what you want to take. Predator as well. I think both of them are common keystones I see on Kayn. But a little bit of another fun fact: a straw poll was added for who people will think will win. We got 47% of the voters for the Outlaws, 40% for the Diggers Union, 7-6. The other 13%, we don't talk about the other 13%. Because it may or may not be at all related to the thing.
We've got an immediate pause.
Support DC to comp restarting, so we will have you all back in the action soon.
Good to hear. Hopefully it doesn't take too long there. Always good to get the pause out of the way. First thing, at least, so it won't have too big of an impact on the actual flow of the game for these players. Although I am curious, one thing, Ao, yesterday we saw Diggers Union beat a lot of teams who hadn't gotten an opportunity to play before that day. So as they played more and more games through the day, I'm not sure I would say their play got better, but it definitely seemed like they looked pretty clean overall. So I'm curious if you think that the number of games they played will help them against the Outlaws. They actually didn't play at all yesterday and might look a little bit rusty, at least early on today.
I don't think that'll be too much of a factor. They had plenty of chances to practice prior to this to make sure that they had warmed up. And if I remember correctly, one of these groups actually, yeah, plenty of the people have played prior to an hour ago, so they are well practiced, warmed up, and it shouldn't be too much of a leap to say that it shouldn't affect either of the teams.
Well, will be fun to see these teams get into action. Hopefully the pause will be resolved soon enough. Again, just waiting on that support to get his computer restarted from last we heard. Definitely should be an exciting one here. Of course, Kite on the Syndra up against Deltrice on the Scion. I think that's got to be the most interesting lane to me for sure, but also got an eye on this Renekton matchup up there. Not sure if you have any insight on that one, Ao. I don't believe we delved into it too much in Champion Select.
Sorry, repeat that question?
Do you have any thoughts on the Urgot against the Renekton there in the top lane?
Sorry about that. I had to do plenty of reading. I imagine that Renekton has such a nice survivability mechanic. Can be pretty much annoying to deal with, especially when he can run up to you, land a what feels like a 3-minute stun, do tons of damage, and get back out. But Urgot seems like another champion, similar to, like, let's say a Gnar, who would have enough range in order to harass him out to be able to deal out the damage that Renekton would be doing back into him in return. I would imagine that this lane would be slightly favored towards Urgot, although nothing is set in stone, as Urgot is still such a weird pick to see.
Definitely will be fun to see that matchup there at the top lane. Obviously, the Tropics looked pretty good on the Urgot. Was the Renekton something Zakam has played in the tournament before?
Zakam?
Yeah.
Not. The name doesn't strike me as familiar.
So perhaps a new pick, at least for this tournament anyway.
Well, Wait, no. I said the Renekton was picked for the first game. That's right. That's right.
Ah, I see. Okay, so he has played it before. Obviously, was a win since the Outlaws are here today in the Grand Finals.
Doesn't have too much of Renekton in his match history in terms of Season 8 or Season 7, but we'll just have to see if his experience on Renekton will be enough to escalate the Urgot back. This possibly could mean that it's more likely that Urgot will get ahead during the lane.
Indeed. Well, he does have that comment. I know I've seen a lot of kind of top laners. I think some Urgots and some Scions I've seen in solo queue that they do have kind of like what you mentioned, that ranged advantage, that poke advantage over a lot of other laners, and that can help them out a lot early. And of course, later on, I think Urgot getting a lot tankier, able to kind of get into those fights in melee range and just gun them down with his W. And then, of course, that Urgot ult is so handy because it basically just gives you, a free execute once you get down to a certain threshold of health. So instead of having to finish them off, like you see a lot of top lane fights be very, very close, both laners and blinking red health bars, while Urgot, he only has to get you down about 80% of the way there, depending on what level his ult is, and then he'll just finish you off. We saw that happen a few times when Necroptics played this champion yesterday.
Yeah, like really clutch ults. Didn't even think. Some instances he didn't even need it. So, really, really powerful. Definitely not something you'd like want to expect from an Urgot based on how the old Urgot had worked. Considering he would always have to rely on his Q for most of his damage, but now this Urgot's just all about being right up in your face, ready to kill you instantly.
Should be fun to see. I'm eager to watch the Urgot once getting into team fights, perhaps. I feel like it's not so often you catch an Urgot able to ult and then get that Fear proc off on all nearby enemy champions after the ult is used. Usually we're seeing the Urgot, 1v1 somebody in lanes or split pushing or something like that. Not often you get a team fight where the Urgot is able to take somebody down and get that ult Fear off on the enemy champions, but it can be a game changer. It's an AoE Fear on all nearby enemy champions, so that's a pretty heavy dose of CC. If the rest of his team can kind of piggyback off of that, it can work super well. Still waiting on word for chat to or rather the support to reconnect. Looks like still not reconnected just yet. Hopefully soon.
So I guess something we could talk about while we're waiting for all this to happen. We can talk about what kind of dragons both teams may be looking for.
Excellent. Any thoughts?
So with obviously with all the dragons that you're looking for, Mountain is best for those kind of teams that are going to be centered around trying to poke you under tower, just trying to get that chip damage off of the towers when they're trying to, siege. Not trying to take it outright in one go after winning a team fight, just trying to steadily break it down, force them to engage a team fight that they don't want, but feel required to do so, because otherwise they'd just be sitting there letting the turrets be taken down. So Mountain, good for that. Wind Dragon or Cloud Dragon, very good for those kind of teams that don't have that really good long range engagements. Braum has a decent engage, but other than that, no real strong engagement on the side of Digger's Union. And while the Outlaws, they do have some small amounts of engage with the Scion ult, definitely something that can be strong. No like Sejuani ult, no Warwick ult, nothing of the sorts. So I would imagine Cloud Dragon would be important for these two teams to maybe try to kind of look for. Mountain Dragon, not too important on the side of Outlaws. Could be important if that's what they're going for the side of Diggers Union, because they have the Caitlyn Q, they have the Urgot poke, and then they have the Syndra poke as well. All very terrifying to have to deal with constantly. And the stuns offer just so much more turret chip damage and disengage for them. And then we come to the other two, Infernal and Ocean. Ocean, good for the same reason that Mountain would be good, for those teams that are just looking to poke, just looking to try to get you down, use their mana, get the mana restored from the Ocean Dragon, or after taking a little bit of fight, they need to still stick around, pressuring you with the Ocean regen that they'll have from that. So definitely could still be good for the side of Diggers Union. Not so important for the Outlaws. And then Infernal, great for those high damage carries, such as the Syndra, such as an Assassin Kayn possibly, such as for the Kha'Zix and the Ezreal. Really strong choices here. So Infernal, Wind, possibly even Mountain or Cloud, all dragons seem to fit some kind of theme that the Diggers Union can go for here. While on the other hand, they're only really looking for, in my opinion, a Cloud Dragon or an Infernal Dragon. Not really looking for that Mountain to really slam down those turrets steadily. Not really looking for the Ocean to heal them up. Just more so for just raw damage, what I would suspect.
Good to have insight on some of the Drakes these teams are keeping an eye on, of course. Always fun to see the variants. Sometimes you see a Cloud Drake sit there for 20 minutes untouched. Sometimes you see people jump on the Cloud Drake and fight over it and get aced for it. So we'll be watching to see what kind of interactions our teams have around those Drakes. One thing I think worth keeping an eye on, Kite up against Deltrice in the mid lane. Kite actually said in that first matchup between these two teams on day one, in the winner's bracket, Kite actually mentioned he was playing fairly defensively, and that he feels that there is a lot. He is frequently camped there in the mid lane and often has to play pretty safe in order to avoid falling prey to a lot of those ganks. However, he also remarked to Deltrice that this would be different this time around. So I'm curious if we'll see some aggressive play from the Syndra against the Deltrice. Certainly, the Syndra against the Scion, Deltrice's Scion, rather. But I feel like my first instinct is that I actually like Diggers Union's comp a little bit better. It seems a little bit easier to execute. You have the Braum, you have the Urgot, good solid front line there. Caitlyn firing away, Syndra is there. Syndra and Kayn capable of bursting down some priority target. Seems like they also have a fairly flexible comp, of course, able to find picks or possibly team fight. Meanwhile, on the side of the Outlaws, certainly an interesting comp. I think for me, a lot of it depends on the Scion. Maybe how he builds as well, if he's going to be kind of that big tanky front line. They do have the Lulu available to kind of beef up that Renekton or that Scion, depending on how things go. I am curious to watch in the late game, if we get to that late game Renekton, late game Scion point, where they will have to deal with Sir Cave's Kayn, who has the Dark Harvest, which does stack infinitely, in fact. So what that means is that basically it's going to be, a lot of damage getting towards that 30 or 40 minute mark. Not sure how many of these players have Gathering Storm at the ready, but that could come in handy. But certainly that Dark Harvest, very effective, basically allows you to take down a jungle monster and you get a charge. But essentially what it does is it basically gives you the ability to jump in, do a gank, and proc those charges on your first attack against the enemy champions. So a lot of burst damage to begin with. Certainly something Kayn likes. I think getting the electrocute proc on Kayn can actually be tough because you might be CC'd a little bit. You might have to flash. You might have to ult extremely early. So sometimes the electrocute proc is just not available for you, but the Dark Harvest, as long as you just hit somebody at any point, you're going to proc that Dark Harvest, provided you took a jungle monster recently, or you walked into the lane and picked it up from something like a cannon minion or a super minion if an inhib's been taken down. But certainly later in the game, if that Kayn is starting to clear a lot of jungle camps, get his farm up there, then his Dark Harvest stacks will go up a lot. Worth noting, Dark Harvest, once you get above 150 stacks, then the charges last way longer. You don't have to rush to gank like 20 seconds after you get the charge. You can actually, I believe it's 3 or even 5 minutes on those Dark Harvest charges. So, certainly we'll be eager to see how he makes use of that mastery there. Ooh, we're getting a reconnected notification. I believe Azure Candy is back. Has fixed her computer, so hopefully we will be resuming shortly.
We are getting potential ready checks. I don't know if there was any. Oh, there is a play resume. I don't know if there were anything in the rules about any kind of ready check, like limits or anything like that, or how long people were allowed to wait. But I haven't received any word from anyone, so I'm going to assume this is all right, especially considering it is the grand final. But regardless, in case anyone was not aware or anyone was living under a rock and then just suddenly jumped onto the stream, this is the grand final. This should be a best of 3 series. And if the Outlaws win this series, they win the whole thing. If they fail to win this set of 3, then they will play one more set of 3 for winner takes all against the Diggers Union. Diggers Union being the red side team, while the Outlaws being the blue side team. So if you're looking for more games, maybe you're looking for the side of Diggers Union to extend the series to the next one.
Well, we'll certainly be hoping for that. Get to see some more League of Legends action today. 2 best of 3 series would be very fun to watch. Of course, these 2 teams had a close matchup in the winners bracket of day 1, so should be a good one in store for us today. Right now, Talofa and Pitwink on the Braum and Caitlyn. Sitting there in Tribrush, we'll see if they look to jump on Bazan Josh. I believe this is the same duo that actually caught a summoner or 2 with this tactic yesterday in a different game of the tournament.
Scion mid starting strong with that painful burst. We could see some cheeky play though here.
Ooh, they're gonna get the proc off. No, they actually flash after the Ezreal. So probably could have just left him with his flash burn, but Pedwink actually burns his flash to get that final stun proc. So flash for a flash, they do get the Ezreal's flash, so he'll only have that E available to escape once that's up, once he levels up once or twice. Kayn clearing fairly quickly here, already heading towards his wolves as Lulu gets some early wards down. Ooh, big poke coming in there onto Bazan Josh as Ezreal almost gets the Braum's stun. The Lulu absent. They'll have to try to return a little bit of that poke damage.
They don't want to see what happened the first game. That Ezreal was terrifying the first time around. No repeats desired. Just getting punished through this lane. And I will say that it is a lot easier for Caitlyn to land her poke, a lot more range than Ezreal has. Ezreal has plenty of poke himself, but he's got to work around the minions. Caitlyn is just free to auto-attack.
Ooh, certainly dangerous. Has that range advantage, capable of dishing out the poke there. As far as CS right now, Syndra with a slight lead, but a pretty big group of caster minions waiting there for Deltrice to take down. Sion pretty effective at clearing the minions, especially with an item or two. You can see that Q AoE, he's got the W AoE, and his E will also hit a number of minions too. But Syndra expending a lot of mana early on to try to poke that Sion, but he has the corrupting potions. Ooh, Kha'Zix jumping in on Kite, gets the electrocute proc, but won't be able to get anything else. Deltrice not close enough to follow up there. Syndra, Kite still playing fairly safe, knows that junglers like to hang around his neck of the woods. Q will not connect from Sion there in the mid lane.
Still doing plenty of damage. Full mana. Syndra is already out, and he's only half health.
Ooh, has to flash there. Kite has to get away from the gank. Kayn is close by, but not able to follow up just yet. So a lot of attention being paid towards the Syndra there in the mid lane. No flash available. We'll see if Eohdorr can return and take advantage of that. 30-21 CS advantage in favor of Talofa's Caitlyn right now. This Braum Q's dishing out plenty of damage as well. Can't forget about that if you're on the side of the Outlaws bot lane. Ooh, but a lot of damage here on the Syndra. She's actually stunned, and a flash and a heal comes out from the Syndra. Now the Sion is caught. So too aggressive play from Deltrice. He saw the first blood in his eyes, but it was not to be. Syndra had the stun up, has to burn the heal, but all summoners use save for the teleport by Deltrice there in the mid lane, and it is Kite Syndra that picks up the kill. Now some action here in the top lane. Kayn going in onto the Renekton, who already used Slice and Dice. He has no way out, but he'll just walk away. Burns a potion to keep healthy. Not able to get a summoner there just yet.
Great reaction heal from the side of Kite. Immediately healing right after the flash, not spending a second too soon.
Absolutely recognizing that Sion damage can be fearsome, and as soon as he could, reacting to that aggressive flash and picking up the kill. So impressive play from him. Gives his team overall right now about 700 gold for a lead. Kha'Zix clearing those wolves as Kayn will go ahead and take the Krugs and a back. So Lost Chapter picked up by Kite Syndra. We saw him expending a lot of mana early on. That'll help him a lot. Ooh, gets the electrocute proc onto Deltrice's Sion, but now some return damage. Dodges the Q. Good work from Kite there. Some fancy feet. But now he's taking a lot of minion. I actually ults Sion, and it's barely enough with the last orb to take him down. So 2 kills early on there to Kite in the mid lane with CS even, already building up a significant gold lead just in mid. Difference between those two champions now, about 600 gold in favor of Kite Syndra right now. To see if Eohdorr can help his mid laner out. Ooh. Ezreal steps on the trap. They're just taking a little bit more poke damage from the Caitlyn, but low mana bars on the side of Digger's Union's bot lane.
No one thinks
Ooh,
that...
Syndra roaming bot here. Flash from Braum. Flash from the Ezreal. Ignite on the Ezreal. Heal from Ezreal. But they're not able to get anything else. Or rather, not a flash, just the E from the Ezreal. Flash already burned, but Renekton is here, and Braum has got, he's going in. Caitlyn's going to get stunned. Syndra trying to dodge out of the way, but Kayn is right in the thick of it. Sion is in the middle of 3 members of Digger's Union. They're going to get the double kill on the Syndra with the Cam's Renekton. Now Deltrice has got to back out. That Caitlyn poke is still there. So big response from the entire side of the Outlaws. And they get a double kill onto Zakham's Renekton. So solid TP play from him there. So the Sion and the Renekton both show up in bot lane, and they get a double kill for their efforts.
Good counter play, good teleport from the Renekton. Very well done. And this is great to set Kite back just a little bit, if anything. A fed Syndra early on is going to be very painful to have to deal with, especially for someone like Sion mid who may be looking to try to get ahead during the early phase.
Absolutely. So 2 Fed members showing up right now. Renekton with those 2 kills and a 59-50 CS lead over Necroptic's Urgot right now. Meanwhile, Kite did die there in the bot lane, but still has those 2 kills over Deltrice's Sion right now. And of course, Talofa on the Caitlyn maintaining a healthy CS lead over the Ezreal, 61 to 45 at the moment. Overall, gold neck and neck, actually 200 in favor of the Outlaw. Ooh, ping is coming down top lane. Kayn could be caught. But, of course, Kayn can simply E away. Actually, Cyan ult comes out chasing after him. Hoping to catch that Kayn, but he'll just walk through walls no problem and get out of there. Urgot putting down plenty of wards there to keep an eye on the Kazakhs. Now Syndra actually forced to walk away towards the bottom river side of that mid lane. Kazakhs is coming in, and she's pretty overextended. Kite's got to be careful here. He has no flash, only the heal available. Some action here in the bot lane, though. Lulu's going to be caught. Flashes, but Brawl auto still gets her. Q does not land on the Kite, but now jumping onto Kayn. He doesn't have time to ult. And Kayn is bursted down, and now Syndra is still okay. Uses the heal. Good work from Kite there. Now Cyan looking for something, but he's getting hit by two members of Diggers Union. He'll have to fall, and he will to the Kayn. Trying to chase him down with that passive, but he should be okay. So two quick kills there. It looked like Kite was done for, but a quick response from Sir Cave on the Kayn turns it into a 2v2.
Renekton actually getting a CS lead. Now that's interesting. It's something I didn't expect. I expected the lane to go a little bit over towards Urgot, but perhaps having enough experience on Renekton in the past to know how to play him, or perhaps sneaking games in through normals and not showing it off during his ranked games.
Indeed. Looking pretty good on the Renekton. He's looking like the sole hope for the side of the Outlaws at this point in the game, with that 2-0 kill lead and 84 to 65 in CS, so significant CS lead. Meanwhile, 82 to 57 there in the bot lane. Talofa and Pedwing feeling pretty good about that Braum-Caitlyn combo right now. Kate, of course, getting pretty fed here in the mid lane. We were curious, is he going to play aggressively? He said that he was looking to. This would be a different matchup from when he played somewhat safe against Deltrice in the first matchup between these two teams. So far, playing very aggressively, playing very far up in lane, and when the Kazakhs has been there, Sir Cave's Kayn has been there to follow up, to counter gank, and it's worked out well for them so far as they've built up their gold lead to about 1.7k.
And plenty of that has got to come from the Caitlyn Ezreal difference here, 400 already. This is shaping up to be a not necessarily one-sided matchup, but
good polymorph there from Azure Candy to stop the Braum stun from being stacked by Caitlyn autos. That tower following very low though. Caitlyn and Braum just kind of sieging it down. Kazakhs really nowhere to be seen outside of that one 4-man roam the bot lane. Kazakhs coming top though. Urgot could be caught. He manages to E away but gets stunned by Renekton. Now Kazakhs jumping in, but this Urgot's very tanky. Has a lot of armor. Forced to flash away though. That Renekton burst too much. Kayn is there to follow up. Could have some action here in the bot lane. Meanwhile, Electrocute proc onto the Sion in the mid lane. Getting pretty low, but gets some good return damage with the E onto the Syndra. So far, Kite not able to trade too effectively over the Sion, who does have those corrupting potions and already a null magic mantle, so mitigating some of that magic damage from the Syndra. But this bot lane turret's going to fall with minimal help from Sir Cave's Kayn. They've just done it all on their own for Diggers Union's bot lane, and that's going to be first turret. So a 2.6k gold lead for the side of Diggers Union. Built up solely by that strong Caitlyn pick. So we were curious, immediately locked into Caitlyn and the Braum in the first phase of pick and bans against the Ezreal, and it's working out incredibly well for Diggers Union's bot lane. 115 to 81 CS lead right now. Gold just shy of 1,000. Good stun onto the Sion there, but he has a Spectre's Cowl. That's one tanky and healable Sion at the moment. Kite does have the Luden's Echo, so he'll have a little bit more damage, a lot more mana available to him there. Ooh. Gets your electrocute proc. Wow, and the ult comes out, so Spectre's Cowl will keep Scion pretty healthy. At least not dead, but Flash and Heal expended by Kite as Kha'Zix comes mid. So not really able to burst that Scion down through all that MR, able to keep him somewhat low for Kite, but no more solo kills likely to come. Might need help from that Kayn in the jungle. Renekton actually hovering around mid, but a lot of vision there from the side of Diggers Union. They're going to spot him out. They got vision pretty much all throughout bot and top river, so good work there. Making sure they have vision on those objectives, including that Mountain Drake. Braum and Caitlyn with the lane swap. Get the stun onto the Renekton. Get some early poke there. He does have the Ninja Tabi, so that'll help a little bit with those Caitlyn autos. Has some lifesteal too. Building towards the Ravenous Hydra, it looks like, so he'll be able to sustain somewhat. Kha'Zix waiting in the wings, perhaps looking for a 2v2 here. This is a pretty fed Renekton. They got to be careful. He ults, flashes in, gets a stun, and Caitlyn's bursted down immediately. Braum ult comes out, but it's too late. Braum forced to flash away. He gets smited. Nobody is here to help him. Renekton and Kha'Zix on the hunt. He W's to the minions, and he's going to be okay. So Pedwick makes it out, but Talofa bursted down immediately through the heal and the Braum Guardian. And now Kha'Zix and Renekton looking to put some pressure on this tower. However, Kha'Zix being seen bot means that Sir Cave will jump on that Mountain Drake in the bot lane, and they'll pick that up for the side of Diggers Union.
Not too terribly of a engagement.
Ooh, the ult comes out from the Syndra, immediately bursted down by Deltry. So Urgot and Kayn there to do some 80 damage. Only the single cloth armor available for the Scion, so not too tanky against those physical damage threats just yet. And Syndra, of course, with the Ludens, with those Sork boots, doing a pretty high amount of damage at this point. Both teams hovering around the mid lane here, although Urgot heading up towards top, Kha'Zix perhaps following him. Now Diggers Union extending towards that mid lane outer turret, but Kha'Zix could be looking for a flank. They will most likely spot him out, though. Again, very good vision from the side of Diggers Union. Looks like Ezreal is headed mid. Zanjat's hoping to join his team, as is Deltris, who has respawned now. Flash unavailable for the Scion, but Flash and Heal unavailable for Kite in the mid lane. And now Kha'Zix jumping onto the Urgot. He has a lot of armor there, and he'll jump on the Kha'Zix. The minion's doing a ton of damage. However, Kha'Zix will get away with the ult, it looks like.
Urgot missed his ult.
Oh, misses the execute on the Kha'Zix then. Feels bad for fans of Diggers Union. They will not pick up a kill on Idrani. This time, he gets out with his life. Stun lands onto Deltrice's Scion. A lot of damage there. Caitlyn and Braum chasing him down. He's going to get stunned. Ignited by Pedwing's Braum, but I don't think they want to follow up here. Renekton jumping in. Good Braum ulti to disengage and stop the Scion Q. Scion now could be caught out here. He's against the wall. No flash available. Renekton and Lulu trying to kind of zone Diggers Union away. Get a venue for Deltrice to escape, but they have... Holy cow, the ult damage from Kite is insane, and that burst down is her candy practically from full health. No MR in the Lulu just yet, and now the flash from the Ezreal and the Caitlyn ult will just hit the Renekton. But now Kha'Zix jumping in, looking for something, immediately has to flash out, and Scion extremely low. He has to run away, dodges the Caitlyn Q. Good work from Deltrice there. A lot of action here in the mid lane, but the poke, the damage from the side of Diggers Union, just too much right now. And Kayn just fighting over a couple of Raptors as his team picks up that second turret, that mid lane outer turret. Extending their gold lead, 3.2k right now. Kha'Zix has to E away as they roam deeper into the Outlaws' red side jungle. So that Syndra 4, 1, and 2 now, stacking up those orbs, those ultis doing a ton of damage, even to the Scion through the Spectre's Cowl, let alone to people like the Lulu, like Azure Candy, who, of course, without the MR, just gets bursted down immediately. That Syndra always going to be a threat. Ravenous Hydra picked up by Zakam in the top lane. Still 2-0-1 in that Renekton. 147 CS, highest in the game. Meanwhile, however, Diggers Union looking to pick up this Rift Herald. Doesn't look like there'll be anyone to contest, as Kha'Zix is actually close to his mid lane inner turret. Not in a position to try to steal that. So Sir Cave and Pedwink will just be happy to pick up that Rift Herald. Buff will go on to the Kayn as Kite Wave clears mid.
This looks bad for Ezreal. He's getting doped by Kayn.
Ooh, it could be in trouble here. Ezreal's gonna get, and he's completely gone. So the Braum able to tank there. Now the Sion ult comes out, missed, but the Syndra flash heal should be okay. Once again, Kite getting out from a 1v2 situation. He's been canked repeatedly, but has been able to just have his flash up or his jungler to support and find his way out of these ganks every time, even if he had to use some summoners. We'll see if this time Johnny can return before the Syndra's flash and heal are back up and maybe secure a kill, which certainly provides some comfort to fans of the Outlaws. Syndra CSing well, 144, and Talofa on the Caitlyn, 154 CS as well. 155 now to Bazan Josh's Ezreal, only 111. So significant CS lead there, of course. Can't forget Zakam's Renekton, 173 to Necroptic's Urgot's 139, and the 2 kills on that Renekton. Means a 1,300 gold lead for Zakam in the top lane. However, even with the Kleptomancy, 1,600 in favor of Talofa's Caitlyn. And in the mid lane, 2.5k for Kite Syndra.
That is an excellent point, Blackwing. They were relying on the fact that Renekton would win early, that Deltrice on that Sion mid would win early. Unfortunately for them, they only got one.
Ooh, a flash ulti from the Syndra will just barely not finish off the Kha'Zix. Brawl comes out, but now Renekton's in a 1v2 against Kayn and Urgot. He's going to be Urgot ulted, suppressed, and he's gone. Big action here. Lulu ulti onto the Sion. Q will only land onto Syndra. But Caitlyn and Syndra firing away. Deltrice very low. He's got to be careful. Kha'Zix waiting in the wings, looking for something. No flash available to get onto the Caitlyn, who does have both summoners available. Ooh, that Q damage. Gotta be careful on the side of the Outlaws, getting poked very low. Kha'Zix the only healthy one, and he'll just go with taking the wolves. But Rift Herald so in bot lane, Urgot and Kayn there. No response available for the Outlaws. They should get that bot lane inner turret. Lulu's running, but meanwhile they're sieging the mid lane inner turret. This is a 3-2 siege. Stun onto the Ezreal. Q will not connect. And they get that bot lane turret, and the Caitlyn able to auto so safely from behind the Braum with that auto range. They actually get 2 turrets for the side Diggers Union and extend that gold lead, exploding up to in excess of 7k. Diggers Union will simply back out at this point, look to pick up this Infernal Drake. Syndra would love to have that, as would the Caitlyn. And they'll just back and reset now as the Outlaws are left to pick up the pieces, push out some minion waves. Now down 5-1 in turrets.
Plenty of mountain dragons coming around, with the second one being, or the third dragon overall being a mountain dragon. Gonna help them chip away at those inhibitor towers later on throughout the game, and the Infernal Dragon just to give that Syndra that one little bit extra damage that she needs in order to execute someone. But we're not seeing too much of a...
Stun onto the Kayn. He could be caught here. He hits Polymorph. Dude, he's going to have to knock up so much damage onto the Renekton. He manages to ult, but the tower shot will finish him off. Or was it the Kayn ult? I didn't see. Now chasing down the Ezreal flash. Ezreal forced to flash away. Sion ulting away. The Outlaws are in full retreat as Sion flashes away. They lose the Cam. They lose the Renekton. Their hero is gone, and now they're on the hunt for an Johnny. As the Kha'Zix looking to E over this wall most likely, but Kayn is waiting. No, he's caught by the Urgot, and now Kayn jumps in, and Urgot will pick up the kill. Necroptics now 2-0-1 on that Urgot. Down a little bit in laning phase, but turning it around here in team fights. And now Delrius' sign has got to be careful. No flash, no ulti available, and there's a lot of members of Diggers Union roaming around these parts looking for blood.
Definitely not too much of a kill game as we've seen.
Ooh, Polymorph here. Braum could be caught. Lulu ulti onto the Ezreal, who almost fell. Now Caitlyn firing away at the Renekton. Kane is jumping in. He's trying to help, and Lulu's going to fall through the flash. Flashes all around by the Outlaws as Renekton is bursted down. Pedwick on the Braum picks up that kill, and now no flash available for Ezreal, and the Kane ulti is there. Kha'Zix is just left to watch his comrades die. 3 fall on the side of the Outlaws, and the Diggers Union will look to pressure that inhibitor turret. Oh, but Kite could be in trouble here. Flash from the Kha'Zix jumping in. Heal comes out and ulti from the Syndra, but not enough to get the return kill on Deltrice. So Kite falls there in the bot lane, but meanwhile, Diggers Union pick up an inhibitor turret and the inhibitor in the top lane, extending their gold lead to 11.5k. An explosive game these last few minutes. Diggers Union playing the map very well, getting a ton of picks, and just outright winning these team fights. And that is a surrender, it looks like.
Quite the interesting one, accepting the fact that this game most likely was completely over. A 10,000 gold lead, not too far out of possibility for a comeback, but it did look like a clean game coming from the Syndra, flashing and healing to avoid every attempt Johnny made on his life. But the junglers didn't seem to have that all of a what should I say, presence in terms of getting their laners ahead. It just seemed like Kite was able to build his own lead after the Sion aggressive flash in, and Caitlyn Braum was certainly able to just build it on their own, take down that tower easily, build that huge CS lead. Got left alone to kind of fend off against this Renekton, losing out in CS early, but most of these lanes have accrued their leads throughout their own kind of dominance throughout here. And Sir Cave just coming along and picking up what appears to be the assistance of the laners to get himself ahead.
Absolutely. Able to help out Kite there, Syndra in the mid lane. For me, Kite would be my MVP of that match. You can see dishing out almost 20,000 damage, almost twice anybody else. Only the Caitlyn able to sort of approach that level of damage. Certainly had a lot of good outplays there in the mid lane, which his score might not tell you, but if you're watching the game, constantly ganked, but able to evade and rush to his jungler and use the summoners effectively and get a number of kills, even on that Sion through all that MR. So impressive performance there. How about you, Ao? Who's your MVP?
I am definitely inclined to agree with you on Kite, but I'm going to have to go with Caitlyn for the just pure amount that she's been able to shut down the Ezreal. And this may be leaking from previous games, the previous game that I saw, but after the first time when they just got completely shut down and shut out for the first game, they definitely made a huge comeback. Caitlyn being a huge problem for them, constantly harassing them with the safety of Braum, keeping them low, building up a 30 CS lead, and building the first tower for their team. And just the pure dominance that she had in her lane alone with Braum is enough to give MVP over to me, or from me.
To you. MVP to Eohdorr. Well done that game.
I am the real MVP. I did do pretty well. I didn't die once.
Congratulations on the win.
Thank you, but I'm going to have to retire.
That is our first game of the series. Diggers Union picking up the win in our first best of 3 of the grand finals of Party Brawl 5. They get that win over the Outlaws. And remember, if Diggers Union can pick up another win in this best of 3, that means they will advance to a next best of 3, which will decide the winner of the tournament. However, still, the opportunity is there for the Outlaws to reverse sweep, to get 2 wins in a row here, in which case they'll win this best of 3 and win the entire tournament by luxury of their excellent performance in the winner's bracket on day 1.
A good showing from them, especially after the first game. Looking even for a while, and then Ezreal popping off. This time they just didn't seem to have an answer in any lane, really. Deltrice definitely looked very promising at the start, but once he had gotten that behind at the very beginning just immediately got shut down.
Indeed. An excellent performance from Diggers Union overall, but we'll see how the Outlaws respond. For me, the fact that they surrendered tells me that they're confident they can reverse sweep this series. They feel that they didn't execute properly, maybe in the draft, maybe just at a few points in game, and they feel, hey, we know we can beat this team, let's not waste our time, this is a lost match, let's just go for the series win. That's what the FF told me. I don't know what your thoughts are on that, Ao.
I could definitely see it. Surrender, you know, try to keep a cool head, not to buff up the scores of anyone else later, just try to move on to the next game, kind of just reset, get everything in order, say, okay, well, the Scion mid didn't exactly work out, and the Ezreal Lulu didn't really pan out against the Caitlyn Braum. We know what we need to do for the next game. We know who we need to ban for the next game. Let's just try to move on to that and get our wins in there.
Indeed. Well, looking forward to some more action. Myself, of course, we have to be impartial as casters, but I think we're both rooting for Diggers Union a little bit, just so we can get a second best of 3 between these two teams. Certainly some exciting action so far. Eager to see as much of it as we can as we continue on to Game 2 of the Party Brawl 5 Grand Finals. This is the first best of 3. Right now, all players have arrived in the lobby. Some ready checks coming out. A hold-up coming out as well. But hopefully it won't be too long of a hold-up, and we'll be into Champ Select shortly. We'll get you guys in there as soon as possible.
I had gotten an interesting friend request. Very on topic, very professional of me to say. But I think what they want to ban here is, not saying that their previous bans for the last game were unwarranted or bad or in any way, but definitely not too serious of a ban for the Janna, in my opinion. Or, sorry, not the Janna, the Karma. Don't know why I said Janna.
Janna, what?
It was the other team's ban. Yes, but they were banned by Diggers Union. But I mean for the Outlaws, I don't think that Karma would be that great of a ban against Headwing. Not really something that I would think you would want to ban. I think you may want to change that over and not necessarily move it over towards the Syndra, but possibly take the Kayn away from either Sir Cave or try to take the Caitlyn away from Talofa. Both of these champions are they're very comfortable with. They know how to play them a lot. So hopefully we can see some new adaptations, see what they're going to be looking for. Maybe they have a different plan and they're still fine with these picks coming through. But comfort picks is definitely a huge factor in these tournaments where you don't really know whether both teams are going to be following the meta or not or anything like that. Just gotta worry about who's comfortable on what and who's going to be trying to pick odd, weird picks like Deltrice on the Scion.
And indeed, curious to see what else Deltrice has in store. We know this is a guy who likes to take a lot of interesting picks out there, and I'm sure he's got some others in store in the mid lane. Perhaps we will see that AP Kog'Maw mid again before the day is done. Last, we're hearing just a short break before we go into Champion Select. Just waiting on the teams to finish readying up. I'm certainly curious to see Zakam there in the top lane. Looked really good and very confident on the Renekton, CSing extremely well. Got those 2 kills, an excellent TP play from him to pick those up in the bot lane. Overall, looked like he had the best performance in that game 1, as best as you can in a losing effort there. I'm curious if that's something they'll look to play around more, perhaps get him more fed, or as well, I'm curious how the team will adapt their draft, their pick and bans to that, because They spent a lot of bans on the support, perhaps just worried about that Cyan Flex pick, didn't know if it was mid or top, so they didn't know if they could throw bans at mid or top, and they'd wind up wasting them, so they decided to simply ban out a number of squishy healing, shielding supports from Azure Candy, but didn't seem to matter too much to me. I thought Azure Candy was fine on the Lulu. I don't think it seemed like she was pushed off of a really comfortable pick there. So I'm kind of thinking that that could be an adaptation for Digger's Union, in that I don't think there's any need to get the that many bans thrown at the support role. We'll have to see what sort of adaptations we do see in the draft there, though. I would not be surprised to see a Renekton ban, even with Digger's Union picking up the win against it. Zakam looked very fearsome on it. I'm not too familiar with Johnny's Kha'Zix, or his champion pool, rather. I'm not sure if Kha'Zix is too much of a comfort pick for him, but he did get a lot of good picks on the Caitlyn there. Thought he was pretty good on the Kha'Zix. Not sure if that's something to look to throw a ban at as well, but certainly two of the best performances for the side of the Outlaws in that game one. Ready checks are starting to come out here. Looks like we should be getting champion select shortly, hopefully. Waiting on a couple players to ready up at the moment.
There we go.
Oh, here we go. We're into champion select. So again, if you are just joining us, this is game 2 of our first best of 3 for the grand finals of Party Brawl 5. See what that first band's going to be. It's going to be the Gnar. So again, the Gnar taken away from Zakam. Quick response to the Echo. Don't want to see Kite on that comfortable AP assassin pick in the mid lane. Has looked fearsome on it in the past. Next band's going to be the Shen. So again, Digger's Union continuing with their same bands. Not any adaptation just yet. They did win game 1. Perhaps if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Ooh, some changes here from the side of the Outlaws. They get the Caitlyn out of Talofa's hands. Was very abusive in the bot lane. Managed to get first turret and about a 40 CS lead. Basically all on his lonesome with that champion. Now Soraka banned away from Azure Candy. So continuing with the support bans. Trying to get Azure Candy's champion pool squeezed a little bit. Meanwhile, the Warwick is still banned away from Sir Cave. They want to keep him off that. He's played a ton of it in the tournament thus far.
So they did opt in to change in one of their bans. Caitlyn, again, a very comfortable pick for Talofa. Sir Cave's Kayn is still up, so curious to see if he's going to grab that. But we see Xayah coming in for Talofa. No stranger to the Xayah either. I believe he has played a decent amount of it in this tournament specifically.
Have to see. Does lock in the Xayah. We'll see what the response is. Zakam takes the Camille. Have to assume that's going to be the Camille in the top lane. Do sometimes see it go into the jungle. Meanwhile, Yasuo being hovered by Johnny. Curious if this will be locked in. Perhaps for Deltrice in the mid lane? Clock ticking down. We'll see if it is the Yasuo. Could be very exciting to see if that is locked in. No, last minute change to the Nidalee. This goes with that aggressive, powerful jungler there. A lot of early game potential for Johnny on that champion. So far, a lot of changes to champion's pick. Didn't see any of these in game 1. Should be fun to see. A change of pace. Oh, but there's a familiar face. It's going to be Kayn locked in for Sir Cave in Digger's Union's jungle. Looked pretty confident on the champion in the last game. Able to help out his laners, particularly Kite in the mid lane. Certainly became very effective, particularly as that lead started to snowball. And they are going to get the lovers duo, the Xayah Rakan, in the bot lane for Digger's Union. So Pedwig on that comfort pick, that Rakan that he looked great on yesterday. Janna and Jarvan both being covered by Deltrice. Perhaps worried about more support bans for Azure Candy. Worried that might come out from Digger's Union. They decide to lock in the Janna. So that opens the path to perhaps some ADC bans from Digger's Union, hoping to get that Xayah in the best matchup they can. Galio going to be banned away from Kite, another strong champion pick of his taken off the table.
So this is quite the development. We see Nidalee being run here with a very strong pick that she had shown during the first and second game. One of them against the Outlaws. So gonna see how well Johnny does with this pick.
So the Twitch is banned away. Like we thought there, looks like they're wanting to squeeze the champion pool of Bazan Josh. We'll see if the Ezreal ban comes out. I believe that's his favorite pick, but they were able to deal with it pretty well with the Caitlyn. This time, not sure how they feel about the Xayah up against it. Meanwhile, Urgot banned away from the Necroptics, and it is the Ezreal ban. So trying to get Bazan Josh on a less comfortable pick, and he's going to lock in the Lucian pretty quickly. So Lucian Janna into that Xayah Rakan bot lane. Janna certainly able to disengage somewhat with that ult, perhaps keep that Lovers Duo 80 carry and support pair off of Bazan Josh's Lucian. Again, Urgot taken away from the Necroptics. We'll see what's locked in here. Opportunity to pick up a top laner and save Kite's mid lane pick for last if that's what they're looking for. And it is. They lock in the Aurelia for Necroptics. No, it's going to be the Aurelia mid. Maokai is actually the last pick for Necroptics. So Aurelia mid there, blind picked into whatever they decide to pick up for Deltrice. And Maokai locked in the top lane. Another strong pick for Necroptics. Looked pretty good on this champion. And it's going to be the Lux in the mid lane for Deltrice.
You know, I want to say I'm surprised, but honestly I'm not. I believe we even saw Kite run with this Aurelia mid during the, I believe, second Iser Invitational, or perhaps it was Party Brawl 4, but he has been known to play Aurelia plenty in his solo duo queues, and has run with Aurelia at least once, if I remember correctly, with in the tournaments before, so no stranger. Looking to challenge Deltrice in this whole oddball mid laner picks. And then, of course, Deltrice saying, I'm going to beat you at your own normal mid-pick game. But Aurelia versus a Lux, this is going to be a rough matchup in general, because Aurelia has just got such a strong kind of jump in, do unexpected damage, because you think, oh, Aurelia's tanky, she can't do much. She's not really that great of a mid laner. But the moment that she jumps in on you, if you did any kind of harass to her prior, the stun will hit you for about 2 seconds, and then all of your health is gone. So definitely not a mid laner you want to under-rest, even with something like Cleanse, but Deltrice did intelligently bring Cleanse expecting that to happen, so we're going to have to see who wins this. I would have to probably say that Aurelia does have the cheesy kind of edge, but should Deltrice pick this up early on, we could see a serious problem for the side of Diggers Union, as they don't really have that much magic damage for their team. An AD presence from Aurelia, Xayah, and Kayn. Kind of low magic damage from Rakan, and kind of low magic damage coming from the Maokai. No real strong mid lane presence like a Syndra, like a Lux, like a Nidalee, or anything like that. So I think once again, Diggers Union win condition is kind of falling along the lines of Aurelia getting ahead early and Xayah popping off, I believe.
Indeed, likely not going to see the full AP ARAM style Maokai just throwing 5 saplings in a bush and one-shotting somebody. Likely going to be building tanky, and of course putting on the Rakan, like you mentioned, AO probably not building much AP either. Going to be building support, so very low AP damage. However, worth looking at the side of the Outlaws. Pretty squishy team overall. Perhaps Camille can stack up some of that armor. I mean, certainly a Dead Man's Plate, very viable. Could even go for a Thorn Mail. So we'll see how that lack of magic damage might hurt them later on. Of course, Diggers Union closed out that first game pretty quickly, probably with a similar comp. The Outlaws would not have had the opportunity to stack too much armor. So we'll see if they can try to get an advantage early and not have to deal with the ability of most likely the Camille to stack some armor. But certainly some options. Perhaps the Nidalee or the Lux can look at his Zhonya's, get a little bit of armor to mitigate some of that damage. Worth noting, Deltrice has picked up a cleanse there in the mid lane, does not want to deal with that Irelia stun, and wants to be able to get out of there as quickly as possible. Probably not a bad idea. Also worth noting, double ignite on the side of Digger's Union for Pedwing's Rakan and Irelia for Kite. So looking for some kill threat there with those summoner spells, Exhaust and Cleanse, more defensive spells taken by the side of the Outlaws.
Could be painful considering that Camille's the kind of champion that just kind of wants to jump right in there. Same with Nidalee. No exhaust to like completely minimize the damage output.
Indeed. Could be a lot of burst damage there. We'll have to see.
But I guess we're just going to have to look at the matchups now, right? I don't believe we talked on that.
No, not yet. A lot to cover in this series, but certainly a lot of exciting matchups that I find intriguing. So, yeah, let's jump into them. I think...
Since we don't have too much time, let's go and just try to jump into them in order. Top lane, Maokai versus Camille. I definitely want to throw the advantage here over to the Maokai. He's got a lot of sustain. Camille doesn't have too great of harass that Maokai can't sustain back up. So I think we can expect Maokai to kind of build an early lead out of this one.
Indeed, Necroptix has built up some good leads on the Maokai before, good CS leads at the very least, shown the ability to CS very effectively on this champion and stay healthy in lane.
As for the other ones, Nidalee versus Kayn. Kayn definitely having a lot more kill pressure, Nidalee really relying on those spears to land, but we've seen Johnny play this, or at least I have, during the first game. He definitely didn't miss too many of the spears, so we're just going to have to see how lucky he is with landing those today. But I definitely still want to throw the edge over to Kayn, purely based on the fact that Kayn is a lot easier to pull off these ganks without having to rely on such a long-range skill shot like Nidalee has to.
Indeed, curious to see that matchup. I played a fair bit of Nidalee myself. Obviously, a very fun champion to play, but I think a very a lot of swing matchups for her, in my opinion. It can be a champion that you can really abuse the enemy laners early on, or you can get caught invading and taken down. Nidalee really only has that W, so you have to make sure you go through a wall you can land through. You have to have a good path of escape. So Nidalee can be somewhat slippery, but a squishy champion that could get caught out. Definitely going to keep an eye on that.
So then, I did already touch on the mid lane matchup, so I guess all we have left is the bot lane matchup. Xayah and Rakan versus Lucian and Janna, the lover duo versus the other duo. Wait, no, the synergy duo. These two have played with each other quite a lot. As I have been told from Becky during the first day, have plenty of synergy, that unspoken bond of knowing when the other is going to go in. No need to really communicate that. It could be very important in those clutch moments. So I definitely want to say it is rough for to have to face off against Lucian and Xayah sometimes, having to work against the minions. Try not to stand too close to them as they're trying to piggyback their damage onto you off from the minions. Janna definitely giving a bigger shield to Lucian, and then Rakan will be providing to Xayah. Rakan having a far better engage, Janna having a completely powerful disengage. Can probably see Rakan and Xayah pick up a little bit of a lead, but I think I want to say that this one's a skill matchup entirely, because I haven't seen too much of Xayah and Lucian. And playing the scenarios over in my head, I can't really see a definitive winner.
Indeed, should be a fun one to watch. As they leash that blue buff pretty well from Nidalee there. Gets a great shield for Johnny. He'll pick that up no problem as Surcave's Kayn starts on red. Ooh, Irelia jumping in early onto Lux. Deltrice could be in trouble here. He's caught on the wrong side of the minion wave, just getting chased down by Irelia. Just back away. Level 1 difficult to all in somebody. Ooh, but an early level 1 W here. Ignite onto the Lucian. He could be in trouble. Flash, ignite, and the last auto. Double flash. Talofa picks up the kill. So only the W available for Rakan takes W level 1. Maybe something that Bazan, Josh, and Dessert Candy were not expecting there. And the double flash and the ignite from the Rakan, they pick up the kill, and they get the exhaust and Dessert Candy. Flash, ignite here onto the Lux, and the Lux is gone. So much early action here. We're only 2 minutes and 30 seconds into the game, and there's already 2 kills for the side of Diggers Union. So Deltrice falls to the Flash Ignite from the Aurelia, and the Flash Ignite from Rakan finishes off Bazan Josh's Lucian. So both summoners blown by Deltrice, and heal used by the Lucian, and exhaust from Azure Candy's Janna. However, Johnny, he's here in the top lane. That Maokai is pretty low. We'll see if he can do anything. Kane is waiting just a little bit further south in that top river. Gonna run into him. About to spot one another. Both level 3 here. No, Kane does not see the Nidalee. He's gonna be caught. He'll have to eat through a wall. Electric proc from the Nidalee. He flashes over the wall, but Camille hook shots, and the Q from the Nidalee is enough to pick up the kill. So Maokai not able to join, zoned away from that fight, and Sir Cave walks right by the bush that Ayajani is waiting in and falls to the Nidalee. So 1 return kill there. Q missed by Nidalee here as they try to go into the Maokai. Don't think they can, though. He's pretty close to his tower. It's not able to take down Necroptics, but they do get the kill on Sir Cave, and they blow his flash. Camille did have to flash for that kill, however. Good E away from Bazan Josh's Lucian to avoid that Rakan knockup.
Nidalee still looking for something here.
Ooh, could be looking for a dive here. Hook shot, stun onto Maokai. He roots the Caitlyn, or the Camille, and then flashes. So it's still thinking the last game, and he's going to live. The Nidalee and the Camille both survived that, so a good effort in Necroptics, but winds up blowing his flash, and that's all. As they jump onto the Lucian once again here in the bot lane. Now Janna could be in trouble, has to flash away a lot of burst damage from the Xayah and Rakan. So chaotic first game here. They do get the kill on Necroptics with that tower dive. Good work from the Outlaws to survive that. Looked like it could have been trouble for Zakam's Camille, but he gets out just fine. Hook shots onto the Maokai and escapes that last tower shot after the root. Necroptics burns his flash, and now his TP to get back into lane.
Man, a lot of craziness happening here in the first few minutes of this game. 4 kills happening, but not all the craziness has even resulted in a kill. Kite definitely trying to work towards his win condition, getting an early kill out in the Lux, and just trying to snowball himself further. Kane, unfortunately for him, getting killed by the Nidalee and the Camille in a reverse gank. Ooh, man. It's a lot of commotion happening at the beginning, but definitely both teams just trying to fight vigorously in order to stay in this final. The Outlaws looking for their wins so they can try to close this out before it comes to a second series. And the Diggers Union looking to get to that second series immediately.
Absolutely. We talked about in the Championship Select, I mentioned it, Johnny and Zakam, best looking players from that first game. Guys, keep your eye on, but here we have action in the bot lane. Knockup will not connect for Pedwink, but a big CS lead, well, just 4 actually. Looks like Bazan Josh has cleaned up quite a lot of that wave. But the 1 kill over to the Xayah onto the Lucian means there is a decent advantage there for the side of Diggers Union's bot lane. However, we have a pause.
Maokai did disconnect, so we will get you back into the action the moment Maokai has returned. I will let you know.
Looks like just about to resume. Just a quick DC there. Thankfully, a very short pause, and we are back into the game. So right now, top and jungle, a big place of advantage. But wow, meanwhile, while directed camera was looking at top, apparently Kite has eradicated the Lux in the mid lane once again. So 2-0 on that Aurelia, 46-23, twice as CS. Huge advantage for Kite there in the mid lane, looking to finish this series and move on to the next best of 3. Going into the Lucian here, a lot of shields and heals onto the Xayah. Ignite onto the Lucian, has to flash away. So trying to trade with that Xayah Rakan, but a big advantage for them. Xayah has the BF sword. Lucian still only with the Doran's blade, not able to duel that Xayah, especially not with the help of the Rakan and Pedwink's Ignite. So pushing this wave in pretty heavily in the bot lane. Johnny's Nidalee is hovering around this area. We could see a gank, but Lucian very low, and again, a big item disadvantage.
You can definitely see an Infernal being an important...
Could have some action here. Kayn is here to help out Necroptics, his Maokai. And no knock up on that Kayn is not transformed just yet, so a little bit harder to lock down that Camille. Actually, now Kayn could be in trouble. Camille, Hextech Ultimate comes down, gets the hook shot, and now Maokai could be in trouble trading with the Camille. In the minion wave, though, Camille will just back away. So the 1v2 outplay kill from Zakam there. Camille doing a ton of damage right now. 1-0-2 on that champion. Hook shot of the Maokai to stun, and that's another kill for Zakam's Camille. So 1v2 gets a double kill. Incredible. Didn't even need his tower. But now, Ignite onto the Janna. Jumping in. Irelia could be looking for a double kill. Does get it, but falls to that last tower shot. Oh, but here Nidalee gets the kill onto the Rakan. But now Xayah trading with the Nidalee. But Lux is here to help. Deltrice is there to protect his Nidalee, who is actually going to die to the E from the Xayah. Great dodge from Talofa, but the Lux is coming in. We'll see what happens here. Actually chasing her down. No ult available for the Lux. Her cooldowns are about to come up, but not in time. So Talofa, just as he watches Zakam get that double kill in the top lane, he says, hey, I'm going to get myself a kill on a Lux and a Nidalee in the bot lane. So kills all across the map. Kite, of course, going 4-0 before falling to that last tower shot, getting a double kill when he dove the Outlaws bot lane there. So 7-6 in kills now, 1.7k in favor of Digger's Union, but still, Nidalee 3-1, and then Zakam 2-0-2 on that Camille. Incredible play there in the top lane to get an advantage there. So we'll have to see who can have a bigger impact on the game, Xayah and Rakan or Nidalee and Camille. Those are the Fed members on these teams.
And still just a pure bloodbath from both sides. We've already got 13 kills. And it hasn't even been the 10-minute mark yet.
Indeed. Ooh, hook shot onto the Maokai, taking a lot of damage from this Camille. Maokai does have the Bramble Vest, but Nidalee is there. She's not doing AD damage. Ult from the Maokai, but Nidalee will pick up the kill. Johnny now 4-1, but Lucian is caught in the middle of 4 members of Digger's Union, and Janna has to flash away. Once again, roaming bot lane for Kite's Irelia and Sircave's Kayn there as well. They're going to look for this Infernal Drake, while Nidalee and Camille will try to do some damage to this top lane outer turret.
The lead's building in bot lane for the side of Digger's Union, but the Outlaws have been building their own lead from the jungle in the top lane. And the Infernal will go over to the side of Digger's Union. This could be strong with the Irelia mid lane and the Xayah and the Kayn if he were to try to get popping off later, but right now it's mostly just focused on the Xayah and the Irelia, or rather important to.
Ooh, good Janna ult there to disengage. And she'll be okay. TP comes in for Camille. Now Kayn could be in trouble. Immediately shut down by Zakam's Camille. Hextech ultimatum onto the Rakan. He's got no way out, and Lucian there to help. Lux ult will not land. Good dodge. Actually, Pedwink might be okay. The ultimatum ends, and he just W's away. Now hookshot onto the Rakan. Diving. Ignite onto the Camille, and she's going to live just barely. Lucian ult will not connect. Meanwhile, action in the mid lane as Nidalee fights with the Irelia. Looking for a kill on Kite, but he's fairly tanky. Jumps back. Stun onto the Nidalee, but the execute damage is too much, and Johnny gets the 1v1 kill there. Now, Talofa's Xayah could be in trouble, and he is. He falls to the Lux. So a ton of action there, but great work from the Outlaws to get the kills on to Xayah and Irelia. Sir Cave falling as well, and now 5-1 on that Nidalee for Johnny, and looking for blood with this Maokai, who actually took 2 turret shots here, could be in trouble, and no MR available. Nidalee just firing away, tries to do something with the sapling, but Johnny is there and gets the flash, in addition to a kill. 6-1 now on this Nidalee. He's been all over the place on this early game jungler, having a huge impact on the game. But can't forget about Zakam on the Camille. 3-0-3. A huge advantage for the Outlaws in the top and in the jungle. And now with that first turret they picked up in the bot lane, they've got a 1k gold lead.
Definitely incredible. Incredible game. Like, I know I really like the macro style games where there's barely any kills, but a team is.
Ooh, but Kane could be gone here. Camille jumps on him. He's doing his best. He could ult though. Camille's got to respect his ability to just ult on to her. Ooh, Aurelia going top lane though. They're hitting the bot lane outer turret. Meanwhile, Aurelia's caught the Camille. It looks like that's 3v1 there. Lux and Italy are on the way, but Camille could be caught. Stun's gonna come out, maybe? No, Camille hook shots away. Aurelia ult and chasing down onto the Camille, but Ignite comes out and Aurelia gets the kill. We'll see if Nidalee and Lux can do anything in return. It's 2v3, so they'll just back away.
Almost got out. A pretty good hook shot.
Indeed, it looked like he was okay, but no flash available, and they're gonna do some pressure onto this top lane outer turret. They already got the turret in the bot lane, so that gold lead now 500 in favor of Diggers Union. It's going to only grow. Now 1.2k with that second turret picked up.
But that's a really good thing to point out, is that they've just gotten 2 turrets, but the lead isn't really that massive, is it? It's only a 1,000k, or 1,000k, 1k gold lead. These teams are sticking so even in terms of overall gold.
Absolutely neck and neck thus far. A lot of kills back and forth. Some Fed members all around. Talofa on the Xayah, 4-1-2 with a 20 CS advantage over Bazan Josh's Lucian. However, the Aurelia Kite 5-2-0 and 103 CS to Deltrice's 66. So huge advantage there in the mid lane. However, the Camille 3-1-3, the Nidalee Johnny 6-1-0, looking fantastic on this champion. We'll see what he can do with that lead.
But as I was saying, I definitely like the macro style kind of game where you got...
Ooh, engage here onto the Lux, could be caught, does not use the cleanse. Ignite onto the Lux, and now perhaps Maokai looking for something. Can't find any follow-up for that Rakan engage onto the Lux. So ult and Ignite burned by Pedwing's Rakan. Both teams hovering around mid lane. Ooh, Kadazamakan here in the top lane as Camille and Nidalee head up towards Aurelia. Kite could be caught here, forced to flash. Ultimatum comes out, dodges the spear from Nidalee. Oh, he could be looking for a turn here. These are all the Fed members of both teams, but a lot of damage onto Kite. Gonna jump onto the Nidalee, who takes a tower shot, and is gonna be a 1-4-1. So good work from Kite. Gets the kill, 1v2. Not able to replicate Zakam's 1v2 double kill, but they'll probably take that to get the shutdown on the Nidalee. Root on to... Ooh, but the General comes out, and the last tower shot's gonna kill Optics, Necroptics, and now Root on to the Rakan, and he falls as well. So perhaps overextending, but they do pick up that mid lane outer turret. So 3-1 in turrets now, but only a 1k gold lead for the side of Diggers Union.
Man, again, I love a macro game, but it's definitely fun to see all these bloody games where there's just so many kills.
Ooh, Kane coming in, could be looking for blood, looking for the Lux. Flash is available, gonna jump onto her, but Kane is there for the follow-up, waiting. He knew it was coming, but now Nidalee's right there waiting, and Johnny picks up the kill. Bazan Josh getting chased by the Aurelia, and he's gone. That's a double kill, picks up the Lucian and the Jada so quickly, and now Nidalee's in trouble. No flash available. Caitlyn hoping to ward off the Aurelia, but Maokai is there to help. Takes a lot of damage from the Q. Good hook shot, but the Root's already going through Maokai, but he's 1v2 now. Gets the heal proc, gets that auto, and now Camille falls. We'll see what Nidalee can do. Might just look to jump away with the blast clone. No, hanging around. Johnny trying to steal that red buff, but he won't get it. Kite picks it up. The spear is not enough. So again, so chaotic, like Eohdorr mentioned. Such an exciting game from these two teams. 14-15 in kills. However, a 3k gold lead built up now by Diggers Union with that 3-1 tower lead. And that Aurelia for Kite, the star of this team, you have to say 8-3-1 on that champion.
29 kills at 15 minutes, essentially. My lord. There's no time, there's no resting. There's constantly something happening everywhere, which is fun to see. It definitely leaves every moment exciting. Because both sides have got their carries.
Absolutely. Camille and Nidalee looking very fearsome. They did get the shutdown, but at the same time, Aurelia and Xayah dishing out a ton of damage. They gotta be careful with this Aurelia. You saw how quickly she just jumped on the Lucian and jumped on the Janna, bursted both down from a little under half health. Late Lux ult there as the Mountain Drake is already picked up for the side of Digger's Union. So Infernal and Mountain there, if they do get to the point where they pick up an Elder Drake, which is quite possible. These two teams, this neck and neck, they're going to be happy to have those extra buffs. Certainly Aurelia and Xayah happy to have that damage buff from the Infernal. Spirit will find Sir Cave with those Merc Treads, helping to soak up a little bit of that magic damage. Nidalee's still 7-2-1, and can't forget about the Camille. Aurelia diving very deep. Good dodge from the Lux binding. Now they're getting chased. Ooh, big spear onto Necroptics. He's got to be careful on that Maokai. Only the Merc Treads. And he is not too tanky just yet. Forced to disengage. Can't take that top lane inner turret. Not with that much poke damage from the Nidalee and the Lux. Ping is coming out as it looks like Digger's Union just want to reset, recall, pick up a couple of items. A lot of pieces there for Necroptics Maokai, looking towards the Sunfire, looking towards a Thornmail, but just has components right now.
Question is, when does the clock for Digger's Union run out exactly? Because, as I said before, they've only got one magic damage dealing champion that's going to do a significant amount, and that's Maokai. And he's not exactly an AP champion. He just does magic damage with his kit. He's going to be going full tank, as we can see from his build path. So his team does have a clock with no magic damage used.
Flash engage onto Lucian. Great knockup, and Lux should be caught here. Ignite, and she's gone. Xayah with the kill. Meanwhile, Aurelia is 1v2v2ing rather with Kayn. She will fall to the Nidalee. That's a 1-for-1 there. Now Kayn and Nidalee fighting, but got to be careful. That Nidalee has great execute damage, and it's going to happen. Aye, Johnny with the kill. So 2v2 there, but winds up being a 1-for-2 trade. Johnny now 9-2-1 on the Nidalee. So scary on that champion, but even he might not be able to 1v3 just yet. However, Lucian and Janna waiting around to help. Ward's coming down on that Rift Herald, but it won't be started just yet. So a lot of action once again. Lux is caught, and they get the kill onto the Camille. However, they pay for it with Sircave's Kayn and Kite's Aurelia.
If they're able to keep the deficit at a minimum, only about a 3,000 gold difference. If they're able to keep the gold difference at a minimum like this, I believe the advantage lies in the Outlaw's court. Lucian is very stylishly walking away.
Oh yeah, doing the little skip horsey maneuver, whatever you want to call that. Very stylish in the Heartseeker Lucian skin there.
But Shadow Kayn, he's going to be great for executing that Nidalee if he can find the target appropriately. But he's got to get some kills first. The 1-5 Kayn isn't going to be that lethal to a 9-2 Nidalee. And that's got to be the target that he's looking for. She's going full AP. She's not building at all tank with the Lich Bane and that blue jungle item, Runic Echo.
Indeed, that Shadow Kayn going to be doing a lot of damage, getting some lethality with the Serrated Dirk build, and looks like building towards a Maw of Malmortius with, ooh, a kind of action here on the Nidalee. She is completely caught, flashes away, but has Kayn ult on her, uses the heal, but that is the second kill there for Sircave's Kayn, but now they're in a lot of trouble. Maokai's there to try to help, try to get him out. He's coming in, they're jumping in, but Xayah's there firing away. Lux falls, Janna falls, double kill for Sircave's Kayn. Now they're looking for a Lucian. We're going to be a stun, great hookshot there, but Lucian's already bursted down by Kite, and now looking, but a great ult from Xayah will dodge. Excellent play from Digger's Union all around. Spam pings on the Baron. It's an ace for them, and they're going to pick that up no problem.
I didn't even know that interaction was possible, but that's such an amazing interaction. Canceling out the Camille ult's effects and the damage it deals by the Xayah ult becoming untargetable.
Absolutely.
Really well played on the side of Diggers Union, a free Baron, and this is going to help them escalate that lead into something that the Outlaws will just not be able to just wait out.
Indeed. Able to get onto the Nidalee. Good ult from Sir Cave on the Kayn there to stay with her despite the W and the flash to try to get away, and manages to finish her off through the heal under tower. Then they just dive, and before Rakan and Kayn can get taken down, it is Xayah firing away there. Aurelia soon to follow up, and the Croptics on the Maokai locking them down. Deep tower dive that gets them the ace and the Baron. Now looking to siege it down that mid lane inner turret. Meanwhile, Aurelia split pushing in the bot lane. 11-4 for Kite. And he has that Dust Blade. That's a lot of lethality. He's going to be doing some damage. Kayn does have the Hex Drinker, so looking to mitigate some of that damage from the Lux and from the Nidalee. Decent amount of MR there, but worth mentioning again, as Eohdorr said, clock is still ticking. That gold lead has grown. However, this is an all AD team effectively. No real AP stacking on that Rakan or that Maokai. So, if armor starts to come through for the Camille or even some Zhonya's, that could help a lot. Certainly, the Shadow Kayn capable of executing those squishy targets, but if some Zhonya's Hourglass has come out, that's not only going to be some armor to help with the lethality, but it's going to be that stasis effect, which can be so frustrating for Kayn and any other assassins to deal with. We'll see if those items start coming through for Nidalee or Lux. Right now, though, oh, it's an engage onto the Lux. She's completely caught, rooted, flashes away, but already Charm onto the Janna. Good ult, but still falls. Double kill to Talofa Xayah. Meanwhile, Aurelia apparently killed Camille in the bot lane. We didn't even get a chance to see it. Kite now unstoppable on that champion. 12-4-1, and he's looking for the kill on the Nidalee. Flashes, but he's under tower, and he will fall when he gets the kill on Nidalee. His team will be happy to have that as they pick up the inhibitor in the mid lane.
I don't think it would have been a bad choice to have just let the Nidalee back up, and you would have gotten the bot turrets, but it may be in accordance to them trying to end here.
They are looking to end. Oh, Lux, Lucian, and Janna up, though. Camille up in 3. I don't think they can do it. Lucian trying to ult, just trying to get a little bit of damage down. Kayn in trouble there. Lux ult comes through, and the bird is enough as Camille jumps in to watch Kayn fall to Lux's damage. Now, the Spooky Ghost coming down, slowing the Xayah. Camille is here. Janna is right behind. Good root from the Xayah, trying to fire away. Too much damage, actually. They're turning. Looks like Diggers Union could be turning this fight around. They get the Camille, and now they're looking to end once again. Still have that Baron buff on 3 members of their team. Flash root on the Nidalee. She's caught, knocked up, charmed, and she is dead. And now they're chasing down that Lux. Nope. We'll see what they do. Rakan fairly low, but that Xayah doing tons of damage. But now, in the middle of 3 people, firing away at the Nexus, rooted by the Lux, but a lot of damage onto the Janna. She falls. Now Deltrice on the run, gonna get taken down by a double kill for Talofa, and only Bazanajash's Lucian is there, but the Nexus has been gradually falling, and it will. So that is a series.
Double explosion.
Ooh. They get the surrender and the Nexus explosion at the same time. So that is a 2-0 series win in our first best of 3 for Diggers Union. So congratulations to them. But the action is not over just yet. Because they triumphed only in the losers bracket on day 2, they move on to the grand finals second best of 3. And the winner of this will decide the champion of the tournament.
Really well played on both sides, but gotta say, I gotta point my I gotta point the finger over to Aurelia, like pulling off such a weird pick and doing really well with it, despite the cleanse being taken on the Lux and constantly roaming bot in order to try to get the Xayah ahead. I'm gonna have to throw the MVP over there. Despite the fact that Xayah did really well in her own right, Rakan landing plenty of W's to get those engages going. But I think it's hard to say that Kite or Talofa were not the MVPs here, in my opinion. But I'm going to have to say it was definitely Kite with those spectacular Aurelia plays.
Absolutely. Just tower diving everybody left, right, constantly getting kills there. We saw some excellent play from Zakam and from Johnny. Both got very fed and had some great outplays, particularly the Camille, getting the double kill 1v2 there against the Maokai and the Kayn. Built up a big advantage for the side of the Outlaws there, but it was not enough. Kite looking so impressive on the Aurelia, and as you said, Talofa on the Xayah, doing the most damage in the game, 16.6 thousand damage. Firing away there, 12, 1, and 8 on the Xayah. He is my MVP, but certainly Kite as well looked very impressive. So great job from the two carries of the side of a Diggers Union. Well, we'll go ahead and look to get you guys into the next best of 3. Should be exciting.
I will throw you that invite. But yeah, we've already seen some great plays coming out of the Diggers Union. They were on a clock last game, but they just said that they wanted to win prior to that clock running down. Most certainly well done on their part. Curious to see what the solution is from the Outlaws. The first game that they had to go up against the Diggers Union just seemed to be so one-sided in almost all parts of the Rift. This time around, finally putting up a really good fight, but unfortunately for them was not enough. What are they going to do against this? It's hard to say. Johnny definitely looking really strong on that Nidalee, almost unstoppable, really. But Sir Cave still once again getting his Kayn, but not being too big of a factor. The MVP really just being thrown down to Kite, to Talofa, the two people who have been stepping up major in order to try to build their teams, their leads.
Absolutely. I'm not sure what the solution is here. We saw the Caitlyn ban come out against Talofa because they saw that Caitlyn, who just won lane so hard on her own without any jungler interference, they said, hey, let's get that off the table. But then they just pick up the Xayah Rakan duo in the bot lane and once again win lane fantastically without much interference to get that level 1 kill on the Lucian. So right now the bot lane of Diggers Union just looking better and they just get an advantage every time. Same thing for Kite in the mid lane, just constantly impressive and just really winning mid lane against Eltrice every time. And champions just don't seem to matter. They're banning the Echo, they're banning the Galio, they're trying to squeeze the champion pools of these two players and it's not working. They're still winning lane. Now they did have an impressive feat there in the top lane for Zakam, once again looking like a very, very strong top laner for the Outlaws, and same for Johnny in the jungle. However, we saw in the last game, they said, okay, top and jungle, these are our win conditions, let's push these, and they got the advantages, and they just weren't able to close it out. Aurelia and Xayah were too much. So I'm honestly a little bit at a loss for how they turn this around and look to win. I'm not sure how you, in pick ban, try to get a winning lane mid or bot, because it just doesn't seem to be possible. Bazan Josh on his Comfort Ezreal pick, or taking Talofa off of one of his more comfortable picks like a Caitlyn, he just picks the Xayah. A lot of champions he's able to play, and same thing for Kite, just seemingly able to get advantages and win lane with a number of different champions, just hard to finish it up. Or rather, hard to mitigate that in pick ban. I'm not sure what to do if I'm drafting for the Outlaws.
Unfortunately, this comes down to just one solution that makes me feel like it's so such a bad answer to the problem here. But it's just, I think it will require Bazan Josh and Azure Candy just to do a little bit better during the laning phase. If they can mitigate the lead that Talofa and Pedawink will be able to build down there, I think if they do what they did the first time, leave the only carry to be Kite, if any carry at all, then I think that they can do it once again. Because they were able to shut down Talofa, able to shut down Pedawink, and they had a great game. It was still somewhat even, but they definitely did pull it off. Last game did look somewhat even as well in the same regard, but just swapped around from their top to their bot. So if they can just put all their resources, I guess, into Bazun Josh, or just try to keep shutting down Kite, I think that's where they can find their win. Or you could also try to look for Zakam, because he did really well on the Jax during the 3rd game series, landing some incredible 3-man stuns, earning my personal MVP, I believe. So any one of these players can do great. We've seen them do it. We just need to see it from this series. So I think their win condition is just that. Try to shut down Talofa and Pedwing, or try to shut down Kite. Get someone shut down and try to feed the respective laner faster than another laner can get fed.
I'm kind of curious, Ao, the first time around, the Outlaws actually triumphed over Diggers Union in that first game against them in the winner's bracket on day 1 of the tournament. How did they do it? I heard that Kite rather won mid lane, so did Bazan Josh and his Urkrandy win bot lane in that game? Is that sort of how they managed to win?
Deltrice played as safe as he could on that AP Kog'Maw against the Fizz. Fizz, unable to build a lead fast enough. Like, really took a while to build it. However, on the other side of the rift, I believe Sir Cave came in, not Sir Cave. Johnny came in and just proved to be an incredible problem on that mid elite for the side of Diggers Union, and built Bazan Josh such an incredible lead with that Ezreal Soraka combo, and them building it on their own afterwards just escalated into an unstoppable Ezreal, who, despite the fact that Kite was able to manage to get a few kills onto them and managed to kill other members everywhere else, their top laner, Zakam, managed to hold his own. Johnny definitely keeping up. Bazan Josh and Azure Candy really building a huge lead. The only one who really fell behind was Deltrice, so that is what happened during the first game. So they negated Kite's ability to build a lead early, and they built Bazan Josh's lead incredibly quickly. So if they could just repeat that, I think that's their win condition.
Well, we'll have to see if they can pull it off. We'll see if we see any further adaptations in pick and ban. Again, this is sort of a clean slate. Perhaps mentally these teams can just reset and say, okay, that first best of 3, whatever happened, it happened. Now, this time, it's the real deal. At least that's got to be what the Outlaws are thinking, given that they just got 2-0'd in that first best of 3. They're going to want to reset, relax, rethink everything, perhaps. Look for some way to get those advantages. I feel like one thing that they could possibly adapt, there was a lot of roams in both of those 2 games in that first best of 3. A lot of Kite roaming down bot or even roaming top. A lot of junglers ganking. Perhaps if they can do a little bit better job of ward coverage and communication, make sure to let your team know when your laner is Mia. If they can do that, perhaps they can avoid some of those ganks, some of those tower dives, and maybe not get as behind in the early game. In addition, also worth noting, there was some disrespect, perhaps, not knowing the burst potential of the Aurelia. So easy to underestimate it. They've got to be careful. Even if it's not an Aurelia, they've got to respect the damage that many of these carries from the side of Diggers Union can do, particularly if they get a little bit of a lead that they can look to snowball.
Yeah, Aurelia is one of those really awkward picks that you're not used to facing too often. And you think, again, like as I said before, oh, it's just an Aurelia, who cares? It's just, you know, whatever. It's a top laner. It's never going to do well in the mid lane. Oh, wait, where'd half my health bar go? She will jump in on you and immediately delete you if you're not too careful. Even with something like Cleanse, the damage is not mitigated. All you manage to get out of is the stun. And she could just walk away, set back up, wait for that stun to come back off cooldown. which I believe early levels is just a 10-15 second cooldown. So not too hard on the Aurelia to say, okay, I made you use your cleanse. I'll be back for you shortly. And even if it doesn't stun, the slow is still pretty massive. It will hurt regardless of whether you cleansed it or not. And you just need to be really careful. And unfortunately, against a melee mid-laner, you don't want to take that attitude, but you have to. Unless you can manage to shut the Aurelia down early, which is where most of her power spike will begin to shift if she gets ahead early. Like she did get an early kill.
We'll have to see if that happens again. Again, in the bot lane too, Talofa and Pedwin getting that ignite, that knock up level 1 with the Rakan W at level 1 onto Bazanjosh's Lucian. Able to get that level 1 kill. Not sure if some factor of that was that Bazanjosh was pushed onto a less comfortable pick. But we are into champion select, so we'll check out what the bans are from these teams this time around. Gnar once again, so still Diggers Union not wanting to change too much with this draft. They have won the first 2 games of the Grand Finals so far. Similar, Echo still banned away from Kite, trying to keep him away from some of those better picks, but we'll see how effective it can be. He's shown the ability to carry on a lot of different champions. Shennet expands, still no variation.
So far the vote is looking pretty even on the side of which teams will win. Straw poll was made earlier and put up on the party server. 9 votes and 9 votes, 38% to 38% on which team will win. Seems nobody has quite an idea.
Ooh, there's an interesting one. So the Rakan this time banned away from Pedwink. The Warwick still kept out of Zercave's hands, but an adaptation there, perhaps looking to get a better bot lane for Bazanjosh and Zercandy as they get the Rakan out of the hands of Pedwink. But this time the Ezreal picked up by Talofa. You have to assume this is not the Ezreal mid that we see sometimes. Teemo now being hovered by Zakam. Very curious.
Spectacle.
Curious if we'll actually see the Teemo locked in. Would be a very interesting pick. No, it's going to be the Jax. The Hashinshin special is going to be locked in. One more pick available for the Outlaws. Again, the Ezreal taken away from Bazanjosh. So they don't ban any ADCs in that first banning phase, but they take away that comfort pick from him and pick it up for Talofa. Teemo once again being hovered. Again, would be surprised to see the Teemo locked in. I think just a bit of a meme there as Lee Sin picked up for Johnny. This was a guy who looked very impressive on the Nidalee. Lee Sin and Nidalee often lumped together as those playmaking early game junglers, mechanically intensive. Should be fun to see Johnny on the champion. However, worth remembering, with Tracker's Knife taken away, Lee Sin is considered weaker. Harder for him to get all those wards and do those ward jumps as frequently, so considered not as strong of a pick. We'll see what kind of impact he can have. Locked in on the other side, Kayn once again for Sir Cave, sticking to that pick in the jungle. Looked very good in the first game, got fairly behind against the Nidalee in the second. We'll see which one will show up this time. Urgot locked in, and there's the AP Kog'Maw mid. You have to assume, because it's Deltrice himself who locked it in. We were wondering when we'd see it. Well, now, when it's best of 3, winner takes all. Everything on the line. Deltrice locks in that Kog'Maw mid like he did in the winner's bracket on day 1. We'll see how it looks this time. Kite has not locked in a champion yet. It's Urgot in the top lane, and what we're assuming is Jax for Zakam up against it. Braum banned away from Penwing now. Yet another support pick that he's shown a lot of comfort on and played frequently. Still, a lot of support bans coming through. Soraka banned from Phase 1, and now Navi banned, so squeezing that champion bowl of Azure Candy once again, feeling that that's an effective strategy. And it seems to be working because the bot lane of Diggers Union has prevailed in both games so far, getting huge leads even without much jungle pressure. Alistar banned away from Pedwink. Now, not sure if he's played that in the tournament yet, but perhaps another pick they're worried about him bringing out.
I don't remember Pedwink picking Alistar, and it's not a support that he's known for in his ranked play. So, curious to see what that's for, but could just be saying, I don't want the Alistar to jump in on us or disengage our initiations.
We'll have to see. That last ban is going to be the Caitlyn banned away, but it's actually banned by the side of Diggers Union. So they saw how bad of a matchup that was when Bazan Josh had the Ezreal against Talofa's Caitlyn, and they say, hey, we're not going to give you the luxury of that great matchup, that range advantage. So Bazan Josh picks up the Tristana. So powerful carry if she gets some items under her belt. We'll have to see how that matches up against Talofa's Ezreal as we await the next pick from the side of Diggers Union.
Tristana, a really strong pick in general. Gonna have to see how. Oh,
ooh, the Katarina locked in for Kite. A snowbally AP high burst damage champion there for Kite in the mid lane. As exciting a pick as we could have hoped for. So he's probably against that AP Kog'Maw mid. Well, with the Tristana locked in, we know that's not going to be Kog'Maw bot. We know this is the Deltree special, but can he handle Kite's Katarina? This could be so dangerous. And Blitzcrank picked by a Bedwing, another exciting champion. And the Soda locked in against a Blitzcrank. So extremely surprising to see that squishy healing support picked against a Blitzcrank who is probably just extremely happy to be going into a lane that he could dominate with some effective hooks.
Really interesting, but probably more so just out of pure comfort, not willing to swap to the Morgana if she doesn't have enough experience on her. Definitely doesn't really help when the Blitzcrank pull already lands and then your Black Shield comes out and you're just looked at with curious eyes on like what you were doing. So probably just trying to keep more of comfort, trying to keep Tristana alive from all the poke. Hopefully for them that they can dodge all those Blitz hooks, but we're gonna have to see. So I imagine Tristana and Sona have a slight edge over Ezreal and Blitzcrank. I want to throw it in their ballpark because Tristana's got a lot more burst than Ezreal. The Sona ult can be devastating if it lands properly. And with the Sona being able to provide a decent amount of poke that Ezreal can't exactly combat, if they can poke Ezreal out of lane before Blitzcrank's able to land a full-on engage, it could end up in their favor.
We'll have to see if they can pull it off. Of course, I've got my eye on that mid lane matchup too. If Katarina can snowball, can get some kills, that could be so dangerous. And the roams as well. Katarina roaming bot, it's a classic meme. It happens all the time, and often it's how Katarinas get such huge leads where it gets to the point where you just cannot do anything about it.
It is notable that Kog'Maw has no CC. When you face Katarina mid, you at least want some form of stun or snare or suppress or something to stop her during her ult. Kog'Maw has nothing, has no mobility either to really get away. So, truly going to be a pure lane where he's going to want to just push the tower in as much as he can with his E, just trying to farm safely until he can get his tier, teleport back to lane, and just try his darnest to stay alive in this matchup. But we can't expect a Kog'Maw to really win this. It's either going to be Kite with the catch-outs, or it's going to be Sir Cave coming in to gank for it, or, as you said earlier, Kite roaming down bot lane, trying to shut down Bazan Josh while building up his own lead, building up Talofa in the process, which will be most assuredly a game over for the side of the Outlaws, should both the mid lane and bot lane build up leads early on.
Should be exciting to see. Certainly, I have my eye on Zakam's Jax up there. He looked very impressive on the Camille, very impressive on the Renekton. Definitely has gotten the better of these top lane matchups early on and kind of has shown some signs of hope for fans of the Outcasts who are looking for a win in this series. Curious how he looks on the Jax, though. Haven't seen him play as champion just yet.
He played Jax what I believe to be pretty dang well during the third game. And I didn't see him play it during the second, so I can't give him too much praise. Only seen it during once. but he landed some, and I can't stress this enough, some really great 3-man stuns. Managed to go, I believe, 14-0-6, if I'm not mistaken. But against an Urgot, that's rough to say. It's not necessarily a Shen whom you could just wait until he goes in on you, or use your Counter-Strike after his W's worn off. It's a harassive kind of lane. You have the Counter-Strike, sure, but you've also got to save your escape in order to get out. Otherwise, you're just going to be harassed the moment the stun or the Counter-Strike's durations run out. And it's really hard to land such a thing and be able to get out with someone such as Urgot. So I still want to throw the edge over to the Urgot in this case.
Certainly seems fearsome, of course. Jax wanting to jump on you to proc that stun, but Urgot saying he's just happy to have somebody want to get into melee range with him so we can just gun him down. Certainly it will be a fun one to watch there in the top lane. Again, press the attack, a strong mastery right now, or rune rather, and Jax, one of those people benefiting from this press the attack buff, so we'll see how effective the Jax can be right here. Looking at the runes, Deltrice going with the teleport and the flash, and the arcane comet there. Meanwhile, in the bot lane, Pedwin going with the Ignite once again, whereas Azure Candy sticking with the Exhaust, more defensive spells. Sir Cave sticking with the Dark Harvest, so worth noting, late game, if we get to the point where this Tristana and the Kog'Maw are dealing out tons of damage, Sir Cave will have a small answer to that, in that the Dark Harvest lets you stack infinitely, and Lee Sin, of course, well known for his lack of late game potential. So, should this game go long, there should be a jungle advantage for Sir Cave. However, early on, Lee Sin, known for those early plays, we'll see if he can make something happen. Johnny has shown the ability to be very dominant in the jungle thus far, but we only saw that on the Nidalee. Can he do it on the Lee Sin? Can we see some of those insects, some of those sick Lee Sin mechanics? We just might get a chance to see it. Still waiting on everyone to load in right now. We should have you on the Rift shortly. Certainly eager to see as a support member itself that bot lane matchup. Certainly Sona not something I would like to pick into the Blitzcrank, but it does give you that advantage of Tristana Sona having a ton of damage, but they've got to watch out for that hook. If they can avoid that engage, avoid that CC, they could poke down the Ezreal very low, as Ao mentioned. If that Ezreal is poked down to blinking red health bars, Tristana can just jump in and get the reset, or at the very least, not a good opportunity for Blitzcrank to hook if Ezreal is not healthy enough to follow up and get a kill from it. We are on to the Rift, just about to get started.
There we go.
Here we are. So again, if you are just joining us, this is the grand finals of Party Brawl 5, hosted by Becky and the Party People server. We are here watching the second best of 3 of the day, the first best of 3. Diggers Union prevailed 2-0 over the Outlaws. Very, very, very clean wins overall for the most part. The second game was somewhat chaotic, but they got a big advantage after getting an ace and then the Baron after a big top lane fight. Now we're into the second best of 3. This one is for all the marbles. The winner is the champion of the tournament. So a lot at stake here as we get an invade coming in with the Blitzcrank. Might get the Sona. They're going to hook her. She's not going to bother flashing. Immediately killed by the Katarina. Probably not somebody that the Outlaws want to see get a kill less than a minute into the game. Is this a sign of things to come? It's already 500 gold in the pockets of Diggers Union. And Katarina gonna back and pick up that early longsword. Deltrice probably not happy to see that. Already worried about that Katarina's burst potential.
It is really scary when you go in for an invade, because if it doesn't work out, it's going to be a problem. Like, you end up losing out on some vital summoners that could have very well helped you survive or get kills during the laning phase. But for the one who gets a kill, if it happens, 400 gold, a huge amount. The others, not so much. They only get like 25 gold to 20 gold. for that kill. It really doesn't help them in the slightest. So definitely a big pickup for Katarina, the one you want to snowball. Just unfortunate for the side of the Outlaws here, for those RNG dice to hit on that Katarina.
Absolutely. Ignite was used by Pedwing's Blitzcrank, so one summoner spell down, and Wise from Azure Candy did not use any summoner spells. Well, perhaps if he had made it out using summoners, it would have been the wiser choice, but looked like no way out, so at least we'll still have the flash when she gets in lane.
And we have received news that Kite is lagging massively, so they are pausing real quick. So he tries to iron this out. Does not want to take that lead that he's acquired for granted and throw it away by some huge lag spike.
Absolutely. Hopefully they can resolve that as soon as possible. Unfortunately, we have no chrono break available. We are not in the LCS studio.
But we will contact Echo, see if he can't try to lend us a hand here. If he can, well, actually, on second thought, we have received word he will not be providing any assistance due to the fact that he was, in fact, banned. So, very clever move on their part.
Indeed. We'll see how this goes. We're starting items Corrupting Potion picked up for Zakam's Jax against the Dorn's Shield under Croptic's Urgot. In the bot lane, Ezreal going with the Dorn's Blade, and the Tristana Bazan-Josh sticking with that Dorn Shield as well. More of a defensive starting item. Blitzcrank, we do see some Blitzcranks go with the Ancient Coin. Gives you a little bit of mana recovery, maybe some more hooks, but the Relic Shield will let you transition into some more health, and of course helps keep your laner healing a little bit with those Relic Shield procs. Does not give you as much mana back, but helps you and your laner heal, especially against a Sona lane. Certainly helpful to be able to sustain up a tad bit. We'll have to see how that lane plays out. Already an advantage in the mid lane for that Katarina, and of course assist gold in the pockets of the others, but not too much of an advantage for them just with the assist. Mainly will be Kite, who is happy to have that. Ezreal already with a ward there. We can see he's got the Kleptomancy. He's getting those procs in.
We do have the ready checks coming through from the blue team and from the red team. So we should receive a notification that the pause is resuming momentarily.
Good to hear. Hopefully got those lag issues resolved.
This does show that bot lane is purely interested in just not losing here with the Dorn Shield pickup. You mentioned this earlier, but it just makes me want to touch on it a bit more. Oh, and the action.
Ooh, a pull here. Heal used by the Tristana and flash from Sona. So an early quick hook as soon as they get out of the pause by Blitzcrank. Didn't even catch it with a directed camera. But they get two summoners there out of that bot lane. So Sona already, Azure Candy died once to the Katarina, and now that flash gone and the heal used by Bazan-Josh's Tristana. We'll see if that affects the pathing of Sir Cave on the Kayn if he's looking to roam bot. Lee Sin right around mid, perhaps looking to stop this Katarina who's already 1-0. So far, Deltrice looking like he's getting the better of these trades at the moment, able to just kind of abuse that range advantage. Oh, but Kayn could be in trouble here. He's very low. Electrocute proc from the Lee Sin, looking for the Q. Hasn't used anything, just autoing. Ward jumps there, Q, and he'll get the kill onto Kayn. So no first blood, but that is a 1-0 Lee Sin for Johnny. But now Urgot roaming down, but Jax and Lee Sin are both there. He's got to back off. So Sir Cave caught there at very low health by a full health Lee Sin hiding in the bush. Oh, the hook onto the Sona. No flash available. No ignite from Blitzcrank, though. Not enough damage just yet. Won't get any summoners that time, but another solid hook from Pedwink. Once again, we said he looked good on the Brawl, he looked good on the Rakan. Both banned away, even the Alistar taken away. A lot of support bans. Now he's on the Blitzcrank, and so far, performing very well.
We should expect this from the AP Kog'Maw, having plenty of wave clear from his E. Oh man, Jax is in a lot of trouble.
Ooh, has to flash away, but now jumping back onto the Urgot. Lee Sin is there, Urgot has to flash. So good follow-up from Johnny. Flash is used by both top laners now, both pretty low. Urgot will be the one that backs though. Blitzcrank waiting, has enough mana for a pull, but the Outlaws bot lane just waiting behind those minions. Bedwink really wants to get a hook. See if he can do it. So far, that zoning from the Blitzcrank helping the Ezreal to a slight CS advantage. In the mid lane, Katarina 29-23 over Deltrice's Kog'Maw in CS, but in the top lane, 3 CS up right now for Zakam's Jax, however he has backed. Ooh, but another pull and an ignite onto the Ezreal, or rather onto the Sona, the exhaust onto the Ezreal. So exhaust burned, but no heal available, no flash available, and ignite was up for the Blitzcrank, so Sona falls. It is Blitzcrank that gets the kill, some consolation for the Outlaws, but still gold in their pockets. And another hook on to the Tristana this time, manages to W away, but a little bit of damage there. I don't think Pedwink has missed a hook yet.
It is hard for a Tristana to do exactly what Ezreal does and time the E so easily. But it is possible for Tristana to be timing that W. She's going to have to play really well. But if you time the Tristana W just right, you can get out of the Blitz hook before you go to Blitzcrank himself.
We'll see if he can buffer that properly. We'll have to watch for the next hook. The way Pedwink has been landing them, it should not be long before we see it. Both junglers around the mid lane, but Johnny already stole away all of Sir K's jungle there on his blue side. He is going to be bummed to see that Gromp, that blue buff, all gone. Overall in CS, 32-30 there in the jungle. Actually, Sir Cave with a slight advantage. Of course, Lee Sin with the kill on his fellow jungler. CS pretty even across the board, but very slight leads now for all of Digger's Union's laners. Actually, Urgot picking up 2 cloth armors there, and building up a 4 CS lead over Jax at the moment, roaming around in the top river. Looking for something there. Mia Ping's coming out bot lane as Digger's Union's Ezreal and Blitzcrank both back. So Ignite down for that Blitzcrank, but Flash just a short ways from coming up for the Sona. Ooh, they've spotted out Sona on a ward, and Kayn is actually coming down there. Katarina fighting. Oh, she's going to ult onto the Kog'Maw, but she's going to be gone. Ooh, gets the return kill onto Deltrice, though. So Ignite used by Katarina, flashes by both mid laners, winds up being a 1-for-1. Katarina already close to that Gunblade as Jax engages on the Urgot. Good trade there. No response from the Urgot.
Kite definitely willing to say, I'll take the death for a death. I can do more with my kills than you could do for your... with yours. Just trying to snowball the Katarina further. Hasn't made any roaming attempts quite yet, but that's mostly due to the fact that Tristana and Sona have been trying to play so safe. Jax is kind of a hard one for her to gank, but hasn't had too many opportunities to really find his kills.
Ooh, the hook onto Sona. Flash is available, and she will not burn it. The heal actually used by the Tristana. Flash, then flashes traded by the Ezreal and the Sona. Sona falls, and now the heal used by both ADCs, chasing the Tristana down, but now Lee Sin and Jax here chasing down the Urgot. He's gonna fall. The Q execute damage is a ton, and Zakam gets the kill. Jax happy to take that gift from his jungler. As Bazan Josh gets poked low, so once again, the Sona hooked and caught by the Blitzcrank. As we said in Champion Select, this is a very tough matchup for the Sona, especially when Pedwink has been as on point with his hooks as he has been this game. Ezreal now with a 69 to 55 CS lead there, building it up to 16 CS now, and 102 for both him and the hook onto the Tristana. Ignite out for Blitzcrank just in time, but Ezreal happy to pick up the kill now. 202. We kept saying, oh, but we have action here in the mid lane. Ult from the Katarina is going to take down the Kog'Maw. You have to assume, and she will. Gets away from that passive, that Acathian surprise. Will only take a little bit of damage and we'll heal it up just fine with that Vampiric Scepter. So Lee Sin just W's away here as we see a 2v2 top and jungle matchup there around the blue buff of the Diggers Union. However, Kite now 3-1 on that Katarina, getting fed, very dangerous. And even without any roams, this bot lane winning for Talofa and Pedwing for the Diggers Union, now up 22 CS and 202 for that Ezreal. Big leads for the side of Diggers Union in mid and bot. We've seen this before though. Zakam and Lee Sin, slight leads for themselves. They got kill each on the Urgot and the Kayn. The question is, this time, can they make those top jungle advantages look better than the mid-bot advantages? Didn't work last game. Flash away from the Urgot as Lee Sin is here once again, coming top a lot. With that summoner down, he's hanging around, but he's on a ward. He actually kicks, so Urgot saw that coming, but he still falls, trying to get the ult on Jax, and he does! He'll get the execute onto the Jax, and now running, and he actually throws the Lee Sin. He's got the shield. Lee Sin has to flash away. This could be a 1v2 double kill. Meanwhile, ult from Blitzcrank. Now Tristana could be in trouble, has to W away herself. Good ult, and a great pull. Pedwing saves it till then, and then now it's going to be Kayn up against the Kog'Maw mid, who could be in trouble. Urgot is there to help. Actually, Sir Cave on the run now, have to dodge the Kog'Maw ult, but now it's a 3v1. Deltree is caught with Katarina there to join him. Ooh, he might hunt down the Kayn. No, the E dodge and the healing is too much. So a lot of action across the board there. But wow, great play from Necroptics on the Urgot. He saw those Camille plays from Zakam last game and said, hey, I can 1v2 as well. Waited to line up the perfect shot and got the execute on the Jax. Lee Sin not able to block that or stand in the way. And Necroptics able to get the kill, get Lee Sin's flash. Lee Sin does get away. However, it is Deltree as well who falls. And in the bot lane, Penwink and Talofa looking unstoppable with this Ezreal and Blitzcrank duo.
Unfortunately for Johnny, his Q, he threw it out towards Urgot, but it caught a minion. It was just a few pixels ahead of him and could not finish Urgot because of that. Did end up escaping, but lost a potential kill. Unfortunate.
So Katarina now 3-1-1. Meanwhile, Ezreal 2-0-2. And that lead in the top and the jungle, that was what they hoped for. Ooh, action here. Alright, Johnny chasing the Kayn, but Katarina's there to join. They got to be careful. Kog'Maw chasing. TP coming in. Great kick from Johnny. Jumps on the Kayn. He is dead, and now they're going to get the Katarina as well. Deltree picks up the kill. So excellent kick there from Johnny to get both the Katarina and the Kayn. And the follow-up, they managed to get 2 kills in return. Things looked grim with that Urgot getting 2 kills, mitigating that top lead that Zakam and Ayajani obviously wanted. But now they get another kill in the Katarina, and Sir Cave's Kayn 0-2, looking more like the Game 2 Kayn than the Game 1 Kayn from last series. We'll see what he can do now. Flash and a missed hook from Pedwink. I think that's his first one. Ult and Ignite onto the Kog'Maw, but now he's on the run. Jax is there. He's chasing him down. Gonna get the stun. Flash stun onto both of them. Heal used by Ezreal, but it's not enough. Blitzcrank will fall. So a flash missed hook. I think, like I said, the first one I've seen from Pedwink to miss. And actually, while they're mid, they're losing that turret in the bot lane. However, they already got the first turret, so it won't be as big of a loss. Urgot not able to trade as Jax and Kog'Maw coming up. Oh, Ezreal could be in trouble here. He does have flash. Lee Sin not able to follow just yet. Tristana jumping in, and Ezreal will just flash away. So they do get the summoner out of Talofa's Ezreal. He has no sums right now. Lee Sin there at the red buff. Kayn's going to meet him. We'll see what happens. Ooh, flash in from the Katarina, and now Deltree has to flash as well. Ignite burned by the cat, but another kill for Kite. 4-2-1 now on that Katarina. They've done a decent job of trying to shut him down, but he's still getting those kills, still getting that gold in his pocket. Already has the gunblade and the boots, going to be building towards more items. However, Tristana and Sona looking to roam mid as Bazanjash's Ezreal is going to back. Already has the Iceborne Gauntlet and the Manamune, of course, 114 CS to Bazanjash's 88.
Very strong presence coming from Johnny. Just trying to make plays all over the place and doing so very effectively.
Absolutely, showing off those mechanics, and here has some action here. Blitzcrank doing his best. He's going to try to hook the Sona, misses the hook again, perhaps psyched himself out with that last flash missed hook. But action here in the top lane. Jack's looking worse for wear, but Lee Sin is here to help again, as he always is. Gets the electrocute, but Urgot, pretty tanky, has Bramble Vest and the Ninja Tablets, but it's not enough. Smited by Lee Sin. Meanwhile, however, Katarina takes down the Tristana, even through the jump in the mid lane. So, trading kills there in mid and top. So Urgot falls again with Lee Sin coming there an awful lot, but that Katarina gets another kill, 5-1, and that is the most snowballed champion you have to figure that the Diggers Union could ever hope to have on their side. And indeed they do. That Katarina 5-2-1 now as they look to lock up this mid lane outer turret. Sona and Kog'Maw forced to back off with the risk of a blitz hook still there. Another missed hook there, but zones them away and they get the turret. That's all they're going to care about really in the end. A 3k plus gold lead for the side of Diggers Union in game 1 of this best of 3.
It is.
But Deltrice could be in trouble here. An ult, and he's gone. Kite gets another kill. Deltrice having a lot of problems with that fed Katarina, and now it's a 3v1 dive onto the Jax. Knock up, thrown by the Urgot. Hook still available for Blitzcrank, I believe. Throws the Ignite down, and the Ignite will get the kill. So Blitzcrank gets the kill, but more importantly, they get this top lane outer turret. That's all 3 turrets down now. But Katarina has found a Lee Sin. She's trying to dodge around, but took 3 turret shots, and now Lee Sin should be able to kill her without any trouble. Misses the Q, but he'll still just use the auto and finish her off. So far, Johnny 4-0-2. Pretty impressive on the Lee Sin, building up a big lead there in the jungle, abusing that Kane's early game. However, meanwhile, that Katarina is still getting fed, and the Ezreal in the bot lane to Lofa doing very well. Pedwink has some excellent hooks, but now Lee Sin in the middle of 4 people. Great kick onto the Kane, but Kane actually will fall to Deltrice there. So a 1-for-1 trading junglers. Sona chasing the Urgot now, could be in trouble. Tristana might look to jump in, but that Urgot pretty tanky. They have to be careful. They've tried to take down this Urgot when he's outnumbered before, and it did not go well for the Outlaws. So a bit of an overextension there as they take down the top lane outer turret, but they lose Kane. They do pick up... but the damage from Deltrice, he is hooked, but he gets the kill onto Urgot. Now probably looking for Blitzcrank, and he gets him with the double kill. Incredible play from Deltrice there. Out of nowhere, just ults and kills the Urgot. They were all back in under tower, low health, and then with a passive after his death, gets the double onto Blitzcrank. So after dying repeatedly to the Katarina, gets a great play to kind of avenge his earlier performance there. Great work from Deltrice. Could have another 1v1 here between Lee Sin and Katarina. Very close right now. Kicks Katarina under tower, but she is ignited. Dodges a tower shot, but now Tristana is here chasing. And Lee Sin will just ward hop back. Tristana on the hunt now, looking for that auto, but will not find it. Doesn't have that rapid fire that would give her a little bit of extra auto attack range.
The Lee Sin ult interrupted the Katarina ult, which is what she needed for like a split second in order to get the damage required in order to kill Lee Sin. Great ult from Lee Sin.
Johnny showing off those mechanics.
But definitely still impressive regardless.
Ooh, Jax could be in trouble here, but Deltrice's Kog'Maw is on the way. Ooh, Tristana could be caught here. Kayn and Blitzcrank there. She is silenced and not able to jump away. Sircave's Kayn will get the kill, but meanwhile, Urgot in trouble here. No MR, and that AP Cog is dishing out the damage, and he gets it right before he can get the ult down and kill the Jax. Meanwhile, however, Lee Sin is caught trying to solo the Drake, and it is Ezreal that gets the solo kill there. And, of course, Diggers Union happy to pick up that Infernal Drake for the Katarina and the Ezreal. That's going to be scary if you're a fan of the Outlaws.
Next dragon is a Cloud Dragon. Not really what the Diggers Union is looking for. They're definitely looking for Infernals to just keep ramping up the Katarina's damage, but not unwelcome either. Allows Blitzcrank to get in the position faster in order to get his pulls. Allows Kayn to be able to find his target quicker.
Indeed, happy to have that, of course, Ocean Drake on the side of the Outlaws. However, they get that bot lane inner turret as a trade for the top lane outer. So, of course, Diggers Union happy to take that, extend their gold lead to over 5k. As Ayajani picks up their red buff on Lee Sin, 4, 2, and 3 now. Has had a big impact on this game, and worth noting, Deltrice actually 7 and 6 on the AP Kog'Maw, so a number of deaths. However, certainly starting to dish out the damage, has got those AP items, already has the Ludens, the Rileys, and a Blasting Wand, really stacking that AP heavily, and we saw him doing a ton of damage to the Urgot, who has only built armor, having been hit repeatedly by the Lee Sin and the Jax. Able to contend with those champions now, but as soon as that AP Cog shows up, it is too much magic damage for the Urgot to contend with, and Kayn, same deal. So far, no MR built by any member of Diggers Union, and that's going to be difficult for them to stop that Kog'Maw. Flash from the Katarina, and the flash from Kog'Maw to respond, but now Blitzcrank on the hunt, uses the ult, uses the ignite, and he'll get the kill onto the Kog'Maw. So Katarina and Kog'Maw both instantly flash in succession, but it is the Kog'Maw that falls. Ooh, that poke damage from Ezreal, brutal, and a good ult from Azure Josh's Sona, and she will flash away. Azure Candy, rather. Combining the two members of that bot lane. And they will have the inner track onto this mid lane inner turret. Q will not land from Lee Sin. Blitzcrank looking for something. Good ward hop from Jax to dodge that hook. But wow, they get the pick onto Deltrice, and they get a summoner out of Sona as well. So this Blitzcrank pick proving very, very effective. And the Katarina 6-3-2. Not quite as snowball as we thought, actually. Lee Sin, Ayajani doing a good job of shutting her down. And Deltrice, no slouch, doing a lot of magic damage. But here we have a bait.
7,000 gold lead. They can afford to do this.
Absolutely. Ooh, somebody's gonna face check. Oh, Kog'Maw, excellent ult from Deltrice to spot it out, and a ton of damage. Almost kills the Ezreal just with 2 ults. Good work by Deltrice to think about that push and check it. Could have some action here. Ooh, E will not land from the Urgot. Could have a fight here in the mid lane. Both teams dancing around. Ezreal coming down mid as Talofa is not there. We'll clear out that wave a little bit. Kog'Maw ult not landing. Of course, Diggers Union now realizing how much damage those do and having to be careful. Ooh, one lands on Katarina and does about 30% health there. So recalls coming through from the side of Diggers Union. Perhaps some MR will start coming through. That Kog'Maw there and the Sona as well. Of course, not building full AP, but will still do a decent amount of damage if there is no MR on the enemy team.
Still 7,000 gold ahead with an Infernal. Kind of a clear favorite so far. I think where you want to put your eggs in your basket, even if he has 7 kills, I think you may want to try to focus a little bit of these kills onto Tristana so she can be a bit more effective. I do have faith in the AP Kog'Maw being able to provide plenty of magic damage, but I don't have 100% faith in the Kog'Maw being able to.
Ooh, but Kog'Maw is caught here and bursted down with the Ezreal ult and the Katarina there.
escape the blitz.
Ooh, but now Jack's jumping in, trying to get the Katarina, but she uses Zanya's, and now she is going to be fine. Ooh, and actually the double kill for the Ezreal as Tristana not able to jump away in time, so a lot of action there. Good hook from the Blitzcrank onto Lee Sin, but he'll just ward hop away just fine. So engage onto the Kog'Maw there, bursts him down. Jax jumps in to try to get the kill, but Katarina uses the Zanyas and survives. They get the kill on the Jax, and then finally they finish off the Tristana. Now 0-4, Bazanjosh not having a good time. These high damage Infernal Drake 8k gold lead carry is doing too much. Ooh, and the hook misses on Lee Sin. Johnny happy to not be pulled into that pit. He'll be looking for a steal, though. We'll see if he can do it. He has used his Q already, and the Baron is not low enough to go in. We'll see what he can do. They're going to burst it down. Actually, they flash, they hook him in, and they get the Lee Sin and the Baron. Ooh, but now Jack's going in on the Katarina, and she falls! Great work from Zakam to get that clean-up kill. Everyone was recalling, nobody paying attention, and now Kayn perhaps looking for something, but the rest of the Outlaws are here. They got to get out of here. This is not a fight they want. Everyone is recalling. Stun is going to come out onto Kayn. They're chasing him down. Tristana can jump in. Urgot is here to help, but they've got to be careful. Ooh, he might get the ulti. And actually, it is going to be the Jax that fall, but Tristana and Kog'Maw on the hunt. A lot of damage there. Good dodge from the Kog'Maw ulti. Those do a lot of damage right now. Not sure if he's building towards a Void Staff, perhaps, as the Blasting Wand and the Amplifying Tome. We'll see what he's looking for. Lee Sin with the Spectre's Cowl now, hoping to mitigate some of that Katarina's damage. As they clear out vision, but it is the Baron picked up just shy of a 10k gold lead now for the side of Diggers Union. So Kite 8-4-2, but more importantly Talofa on the Ezreal 6-0-7, 188 CS, 22 CS advantage there, and they'll pick up a free Cloud Drake with their advantage. Gold lead about 9.2k right now. 5-2 in turrets in favor of Diggers Union. The Outlaws. Lee Sin could be caught here. Q's out of the Wolves, but silenced and killed by Pedwing's Blitzcrank. So Lee Sin caught. Now flash out of the Kog'Maw. He uses his own flash, but I don't think he has any way out. Ignite there. No, Sona is there and Jax as well. So the Katarina is zoned away. Flash for flash and Ignite down for Katarina. But now they have the inside track on this bot lane inhibitor turret. Nobody there to respond just yet. They're going to tear this down with those Baron minions. The entirety of Diggers Union now firing away at the inhibitor. Tristana, Sona, and Jax waiting in the wings, and now looking for some damage. Hook missed by Blitzcrank, but now silence. A lot of damage onto the Sona. They got to be careful. Katarina bursts her instantly, and now Jax going to be careful. Counter-strike there, but Kayn is not using autos. He's using his Q and his W. Katarina jumps in and ults, but will not find any kills. But Ezreal there gets the kill on to Deltrice's Kog'Maw. Katarina's going to be in trouble now, though, and it actually Deltrice's passive picks up the kill. So a really far dive, almost a fountain. They lose Katarina, but they do pick up the kill on the Kog'Maw. It's now a 4v3. We'll see what Diggers Union looks for. They seem to want to end. They're looking for it. Hook onto Tristana, but buffers the W perfectly. Good work from Bazanjosh there. One Nexus turret down, still 10 seconds on the Jax. They're doing their best, but actually Tristana firing away. They might have to be careful here. Blitzcrank looking for something. A lot of damage onto the Sona. Uses the heal for Tristana. Good ulti there, but Nexus is going to fall. Good kick from the Lee Sin there, but Nexus is falling. They have to do something here. Maybe if they just hit the Nexus, it'll end. They're actually just looking for the kills, I think. They get the Lee Sin. Nexus about to fall with one more auto, and it will. So, a victory earned by Diggers Union in the first game of our second best of three at Party Brawl 5's Grand Finals. Remember, this best of three is a winner takes all.
A really strong performance once again by Diggers Union, showing that just because they're coming from the loser's bracket doesn't at all mean that they are the underdogs here, and quite frankly just trying to show that they can do just as well. Very strong showing from the Blitzcrank in particular, who is my personal MVP, and I don't think I can even say that there's much to talk about here. He landed so many crucial hooks, getting Ezreal so far ahead, bullying the bot lane so intentively, and throughout most of the mid game just being a constant threat, pulling in the Kog'Maw along with the Katarina, finding the Kog'Maw out of position. just constantly being a nuisance, one might say.
Absolutely. The bot lane of Digger's Union looked absolutely incredible there. Both Talofa and Pedwick. If you look at the damage charts, Tristana Bazanjosh only able to do 4.6k to Talofa's 21,000 damage. Even the Blitzcrank, 11,000 damage to Sona's 4,000. So a huge advantage there, but of course I have to give it, while great credit to Pedwink on a number of extremely impressive hooks, landed them almost throughout the game, probably 90-95% rate, some excellent work there. Myself, I have to balance things out and give it to the other half of that bot lane duo, Talofa on the Ezreal, 8-0-11, highest damage on his team. Of course, Deltrix's Cogmon with 24,000 damage, actually highest damage in the game, interestingly enough. However, great performance on the Ezreal there, able to just dish out that damage, clean up that gold with a Kleptomancy, and build up a huge lead in the bot lane with the help of his faithful Blitzcrank support, landing some excellent hooks. So we'll go ahead and move on to game 2. This should be a fun one. Again, if Digger's Union can pull off a win in this particular game, they win it all. They win Party Brawl 5. However, if Outlaws can finally take a game off of Digger's Union today, they would have the opportunity to then reverse sweep and win the grand finals themselves. So should be a fun one to watch as we get into the lobby. Wait for the players to get in here, ready checks to come in. We'll have you into Champion Select as soon as we can, as we await the next matchup between the Outlaws and Digger's Union.
Hopefully we can see something from the Outlaws here. Most certainly not trying to pick a side here, but I do want to see at least one game come through for them during this next round. I want to see some kind of a weird Deltree pick, or I want to see Bazanjosh just pop off on some ADC. But it seems like they have almost no answer to this, really. They have so many champions that Kite can play, though, so they can't really ban out Kite. He's always going to be on a strong mid laner that he's well experienced and well versed in. It seems Zakam and iJohnny have been able to build up leads pretty effectively up in the top lane, but it never really goes anywhere beyond the top lane. It always seems to be just shutting down the top laner and possibly the jungler from the side of Digger's Union, but it can't really affect too much elsewhere on the map. And so I'm really looking to see if they can try to get Bazanjosh ahead here, because if they can, I think that would be one of their win conditions.
Absolutely. It definitely seems like the components are there for the side of the Outlaws. Of course, they were able to beat Digger's Union in the winners bracket on day one, so we know it's possible, but perhaps this is a Digger's Union team that has been forged through so many games in the tournament, playing one in the winners bracket, then playing all the way through the losers bracket, now playing through all these games in the grand finals. They have a lot of experience together now through these tournaments, and perhaps playing at a higher level than in that first game that they lost in the winners bracket on day one. We'll see what they can do. So far, iJohnny looked very impressive on the Nidalee, very impressive on the Lee Sin. Zakam, again, looking great on the Camille, on the Renekton, and on the Jax. Clearly able to play these top lane matchups very well. However, they haven't been able to make it materialize into a big lead for their team. Bazanjosh and Azura Candy have just been losing lane to their opposing duo in the side of Talofa and Pedwink. They have got to find a way to get an advantage in that bot lane or otherwise mitigate those leads somehow. I thought that what happened last game with Deltrees against the Katarina, I didn't think the Katarina got too out of control. Sure, she was bursting people down, but it was with the help of her team. Deltrice, most damage in the game. He had a big impact. This wasn't a case of the Katarina taking her opposing laner out of the game. And the Eohdorr on the Lee Sin did a good job of shutting her down, got a couple of kills on her. They contained Kite somewhat. He got ahead, but he wasn't unstoppable. I think if they could have gone even or better in the bot lane, it could have been a game that the Outlaws could have won. But the problem was they lost the bot lane and they lost the mid lane, and overall it was just too much, and they got later and later, and things simply snowballed out of control. I think I go back to what you were saying earlier, with they've got to do something about this bot lane. I don't know what it is. Azur Candy maybe picking a different champion, trying to ban out Talofa more? I'm not sure. We'll see what they can do as we get into Champion Select. Awaiting our first ban here from the side of the Outlaws, and it is going to be Urgot taken away from Necroptics, says the Cam, tired of playing against that champion. Ooh, now the Gnar taken away still. So still, Diggers Union now winning 3 games in a row today are saying, hey, draft is working, let's just keep it these banned. Outcast
Still don't want to see Warwick in the hands of Sir Cave. Played several good games on him.
Absolutely. Perhaps Johnny, knowing he's been able to abuse that Kane's early game, feeling confident about that jungle matchup, doesn't want to have to 1v1 a Warwick in the early game, knows that could be more problematic. Caitlyn banned away as well. Don't want to see Talofa on that. Looked great into the Ezreal matchup early. And now Soraka taken. I'm curious if the Ezreal will be locked in for Bazan Josh this time. It is a comfort pick for him, I believe, and they have taken that Caitlyn away. However, the Ezreal did struggle against the Xayah Rakan lane. We'll see if that is what the Diggers Union look to pick up. Ooh, but the Echo was left open this time with the Urgot ban coming in. Kite gets what I believe is one of his favorite champions, the Echo in the mid lane. Won't be the Aurelia that creates an AD heavy team. They'll have plenty of magic damage with that assassin there. It is the Ornn picked up in the top lane though for the Outlaws.
It's such a crazy pick. It's not something you'd really expect. And yet, there it is.
Ooh, the instant Rengar locked in. Actually, it looks like Deltrice and Eohdorr perhaps swapping. Deltrice, I know, loves playing the Rengar. Perhaps we have a position swap here as Eohdorr locks in the Yasuo in the mid lane, perhaps for himself. Maybe Deltrice adapting and going in the jungle with the Rengar. We'll be up against that Kayn for Sir Cave, sticking with that pick as we await the last pick. Gragas being hovered, and that is locked in. Looks like a Gragas top for Necroptics with the Urgot not available. We'll see how the Gragas can match up against the Ornn.
Gragas is such a weird pick that we haven't seen in quite a while. I'm not sure what's making his resurgence, but I've seen him play mid recently. I've had to face him, I believe, twice within my recent games. So quite interesting that he's resurfacing. I don't know how he fares up against top lane. It's been almost an entire season since I've even seen a Gragas top lane. Have no idea how this would play out. I'm trying to run through the scenarios in my head, and I think I want to throw the advantage over in Ornn's ballpark because he has so much shielding with his abilities. But I don't know. Is this a comfort pick for Necroptics, or is this some kind of old pick that he's running with? Oh, maybe it is a comfort pick because he's got at least 13 games played this season.
With Tristana locked in for Talofa, and they did ban away the Ezreal.
And a lot of games played in Season 7, so definitely a comfort pick.
Teemo being hovered once again, sensing a theme from the Outlaws there. We'll see what the pick that's locked in. Again, supports banned all around. Soraka and Nami taken away from Azur Candy, and Rakan and Blitzcrank banned by Pedwing. So tired of those pulls. Actually, Vayne locked in by Bazan Josh, and now Xayah being covered by Azur Candy. Okay, no. Now the Janna being hovered. So Vayne picked for Bazan Josh, and it's going to be the Morgana.
Interesting. Possibly just not willing to play the Morgana last time, but without the Blitzcrank, not having to worry about those quick reactions, maybe feels a little bit more comfortable about Morgana now. Or due to the fact of the mid laner being Yasuo, probably just wanted some kind of AP presence that was strong enough to be a mid laner, kind of like that Lux or that Morgana. So quite the strong laning presence here that they're trying to throw down. But against a Tristana and a Braum, Tristana has just so much damage early game that Vayne can't really stack up. Her worst part of her entire kit is her early game. And with Braum there, the Morgana can help with the shield, with the stun that will come out for Braum, but most certainly can't really help too well in the category of burst that will come from the Tristana. Get blacked out there for a moment. So I want to say Tristana and Braum have a pretty good edge here, especially with the Ignite. Definitely planning on going aggressive here.
Indeed. So some new picks coming out. Looks like it is Deltrice in the jungle, so a lot of changes here for the Outlaws. With their backs against the wall, they have to win 2 games in a row now, or they are out. Or it is Diggers Union who will win the Grand Finals and win Party Brawl 5. So they make adaptations, bring out all new champions, and even swap their mid and jungler. So Deltrice bringing out a signature Rengar pick he is very comfortable with. Johnny with the Yasuo, which does give them a very AD heavy team. Gragas and Braum perhaps able to take advantage of that. Vayne locked in for Bazan Josh with his comfort pick, Ezreal banned away, and Azure Candy picks the Morgana. And of course, Ornn in the top lane. Kite now, though, given the Echo, perhaps they've just accepted that Kite is a foregone conclusion, and whatever happens, he's going to get ahead, looking to get that Vayne and Morgana, get a bot lane that can have an impact. Certainly that Vayne, once you get some items, will start dishing out the damage and could be fearsome. Vayne and Yasuo, both capable of simply bursting people immediately late game.
And I guess that's kind of what they're waiting for, isn't it? Either to try to get Vayne snowballing early, or just kind of wait out the timer until Vayne is able to hit that late game spike. But with Kite on that Echo, we've seen him just delete people instantly. Will it be fast enough? Because it takes Vayne a while to really come online, and Tristana's no slouch either when it comes to the late game. One of the stronger late game AD carries. I would say the top 3 late game AD carries that are the most influential are of Vayne, Kog'Maw, and Twitch, but Tristana's a close 4th. So, gotta see what their plan here is. If Vayne doesn't get ahead enough early on, she may not have the damage to deal with the Echo before she comes online. And Rengar doesn't exactly scale too well as the game keeps droning on and on and on.
Interesting. We'll have to see if we get to that late game. It certainly looks like the Outlaws are hoping to get there. Of course, like you said, Ignite coming in for Azure Candy, no longer sticking with the exhaust, looking for some more kill pressure this time. And Johnny with the Ignite, and this time Kite with a teleport instead. So some summoners moved around here. We'll see how things go as we are just 10 seconds away from loading into the Rift. And here we go.
Bowski.
So it will be fun to see, of course. This is Backs Against the Wall, the final best of 3 series of the Grand Finals of Party Brawl 5, again hosted by the Party People server and Becky. We will see who triumphs now. In the first best of 3, the Diggers Union won 2 games in a row, went up 2-0 and took the series over the side of the Outlaws. However, because the Outlaws performed so well on day 1 in the winner's bracket, they've earned the right to a second best of 3. However, Diggers Union already won the first game. This is game 2. If they take it, they take the series and they take the tournament. Everything comes down to this game. If the Outlaws can't win it, Diggers Union takes it all.
You definitely got to think about the mind games that are playing in the background that aren't exactly apparent. Because Diggers Union lost to them first, but are right now 3-0 on the series is total. This has got to be weighing in the minds of the Outlaws here. They definitely, they're trying to pull out all the stops, as you said, with the swapping of Deltrice to the jungle role and Johnny taking on the mid lane role, despite the fact that Johnny has been doing expertly well in that regard, playing a fantastic Lee Sin game, playing a fantastic Nidalee game, and working with Zakam to build those leads up top lane, unfortunately not going anywhere. So maybe they're just trying to find a right combination, because they've got to win the next 2 games. They've lost so many times already, and the Diggers Union are running off of a 3-game high right now.
Ooh, and we do have a pause. Looks like Deltrice has disconnected.
Indeed. DC, so I will let you know the moment...
he's reconnected.
He has reconnected.
Worth noting, though, even as Yasuo and Vayne are waiting for that late game, the side of Diggers Union is saying, great, that gives us time to build some armor items. So, against this all AD comp, sure, Ornn does a little bit of magic damage with his W, and they've got the Morgana, but most likely, especially with Azure Candy's style she's been playing so far, we're not going to see a lot of magic damage here. And Sir Cave, again, still has that Dark Harvest. As we've gone over before, this is a rune that thrives in the late game, stacks infinitely, particularly 150 plus stacks becomes very effective, and that Kayn starts to burst people down. We've kind of seen before Sir Cave getting bullied a bit in the jungle early on, and then being able to just burst people down late game regardless. Those Dark Harvest stacks helping him out with that. We did see Deltrice reconnect, so hopefully we will have a unpause soon enough.
There were some ready checks that were thrown out, and
and there it is, unpause.
That's
excellent.
Interesting. It just went from 5 to immediately 0.
Yeah, surprised to see that. Well, regardless, happy to be back on the Rift and in action, unpause. As Kite and Pedwink are here. Worth noting as well, Pedwink got his hands on the Braum. Ooh. So the first hit, not first blood, but first damage dealt by the side of Diggers Union. Just sending a message there with that Braum Q.
So we don't have any cheeky plays in terms of trying to invade right now. It seems like both sides are willing to just take their own jungle and then proceed along the standard routes. No level 1 cheese over in the tri-brush either.
Oh, we could have some level 1 cheese over in the bot lane bushes, though. They've made their way in there with no wards. We'll see. Of course, one quick Morgana binding taken level 1 can pretty much disengage most early fights. We'll see if that happens. Oh, good point out. Actually, Rengar does have the Dark Harvest as well, so a little bit of late game potential there. Appreciate from Blackwing Neo giving us excellent analysis in chat. So Dark Harvest by both junglers, and meanwhile, laning phase is underway. Rengar helping, or rather Ornn helping Rengar take that blue buff. So early push here by the side of the Diggers Union bot lane. We'll have to see how this game goes. Ooh, Rengar gonna run into Kayn around Kayn's red buff. Could have some action here. Deltrice jumps on him. Looks like he's got the jump. Sir Cave once again in the early game. Kayn getting exploited here. Having some difficulties. Ooh, and Deltrice could be looking to gank top now. Necroptic somewhat pushed up, Might be able to get a flash, if not something more, as they jump in. But Kite against the Yasuo in the mid lane. Some action here. Johnny trading evenly with that star mid laner of Diggers Union so far. Ooh, but now Kite jumping in. Ooh, the Yasuo jumping back actually forces the flash from Kite. So excellent early play from Johnny there. He's tired of seeing Kite get out of control in the mid lane, takes things into his own hands, says, give me that mid lane roll, and he gets the flash solo to start with the Yasuo.
And he still has Flash and Ignite. This could end up being a kill later down the road.
Rengar's close, but so is Kayn. They could be looking for revenge against the Yasuo. 2v2 here, Yasuo will just E away. Gets the Q on to the Echo. W from Kayn will land. Action near the top lane. It looks like Gragas doing fairly well at the moment. Of course, able to sustain a bit with that passive, healing out those spells. But Ornn so tanky in the shield from the W, he can survive a lot longer than you think. Good binding from Azure Candy onto the Braum there. Braum taking a bit of poke damage, but with the Relic Shield, he will heal up fairly well. Ooh, a lot of return damage from the Ornn there. Turned things around completely. Now Gragas below half health.
Kite mentioning in the past that he did not like the Yasuo into the Echo matchup, so could very well prove to be that one thing that Kite will have problems trying to escalate his lead from. Courtesy of our chat caster.
Echo TPing back into lane, has the Doran's Ring and the Dark Seal picked up now. Yasuo going with a pair of daggers. Ooh, a knock-up onto Gragas, and now that W. Gragas really taking a ton of damage. Has got to be careful here. Consumes his last potion. 2 corrupting potions used by Zakam's Ornn, but now Vayne walking right up to the Braum. Takes a Tristana bomb. Black Shield will help mitigate that damage, though. CS-wise, fairly even in the mid lane. However, Tristana with a 36-29 lead in the bot lane there. Talofa once again looking like he's starting to get the better of this bot lane matchup a tad bit. We'll have to wait and see. No kills just yet. No summoners burn. However, in the top lane, Zakam really doing excellently against Necroptics. Punishing him, getting him below half health and out-CSing him 30-20 right now. Has TP back to lane with those corrupting potions restocked.
An Infernal Dragon popping up. Oh, and an engagement on Morgana.
Ooh, has a spell immune though, won't get stunned. Actually, Braum in trouble, has to flash, takes a tower shot, but it's Tristana who gets first blood onto the Morgana. So both supports taken incredibly low, even though the Braum stun couldn't get through the Black Shield. The Tristana auto attacks, of course, will, and Azure Candy falls with Flash still up. Flash and Ignite expended by Pedwink, just the Ignite by Azure Candy's Morgana.
But Infernal Dragon is up. So it is something that both teams are going to be looking
action here in the mid lane. Echoes could be getting a kill. No, actually, it is Yasuo flashes away, but now Kayn flashing aggressively. Echo looking for the kill, and he gets it. So Johnny working so hard to do his best against Kite. We heard it was a difficult matchup, but Sir Cave, as usual, there to support his mid laner, and with the gank, they get the flash and the kill on to Johnny. Sir Cave uses a flash of his own. Ornn is here, but not a lot he can do as a Rengar waiting in the wings, but Kite and Sir Cave will simply back away. Actually, Sir Cave could run into Rengar here. He has a level up on him, though. Ooh, but Rengar gets the jump on him, and now Kayn on the run here. Gragas is close, but he could be in trouble. He has no ult to get out of this and no flash. He'll E through the wall. And a flash from the Rengar jumps on him and gets the kill. Deltrice knowing exactly what he has to do, but now Gragas on the hunt. Flash from the Croptics chasing the Deltrice. However, the Ornn ult will land, and Deltrice able to get away with a W heal and the support of his top laner. So Flash expended by Deltrice, but gets the kill on the Kayn, who was flashless after the action in the mid lane. Ooh, but Echo doing a ton of damage, getting that Yasuo down below half health. So Kite now up 1-0, 51 to 47 in CS. In the bot lane, Talofa building up a CS lead again, 1-0 on the Tristana and 66 to 48 in CS. In the top lane, though, Zakam looking excellent, 52 to 30 in CS. Big lead there. Echo going in once again. Takes a little bit of damage from the Yasuo, but out trading him right now. Has a level up on him. So far, this change of Deltrice and Johnny jungle mid looking like it's working out fairly well. Of course, the Yasuo still dying once and losing his flash, so not able to shut Kite down, but Deltrice looking good in the jungle thus far. We'll have to see if Johnny can do something more. He looked great in the Nidalee and the Lee Sin, but perhaps worried that in the later game, he wasn't able to carry, and thinks from the mid lane, he could do that better. Ooh, Rengar spotted out. Brawl will connect onto Morgana. W in. Morgana forced to flash away. Vayne ult comes out. Root onto the Braum, and now Vayne just kiting back. Meanwhile, in top lane action here, Gragas is low. Smite comes out from the Kayn, but now it's a 2v1 against the Ornn. However, Ornn, a good champion to 2v1 with. You can't underestimate his damage, but no knockup. W will not hit anybody, but Gragas actually getting kind of low. So tanky on the Ornn. Flash from the Ornn, missed body slam, but now the ult comes out from the Kayn, and the ult from the Gragas will finish the job, knowing the damage you can do. So they get the flash from Zakam and the kill. So Cave doing a good job of helping that top lane, helping that mid lane, getting him rolling. Meanwhile, all on its own, Talofa and Pedwink getting ahead over Azur Candy and Bazanjosh there in the bot lane. So things looking good here. Oh, but Deltrice's top lane looking for the kill onto Gragas. Maybe more than he bargained for, though, actually smites the Gragas, but he could be in trouble. Running away, no bushes to help him, and he's killed. So looks for a counter kill on the Gragas, but pays for it with his life. Now more action here in the bot lane. Stun is going to land. No Black Shield available. Heal, and wow, the bomb. So much damage. And now Vayne looking for the counter kill, but she's going to get stunned by the Braum, and now Tristana and Braum chasing the Vayne, but both pretty low. Not sure they can do anything. So a lot of action there as Azur Candy falls now 0-2 on the Morgana, and 2-0 for that Tristana. Ooh. This could be close, actually. Tristana's gonna be careful, and she gets the kill with the ulti, knowing she has just enough health and damage to finish it off. 3-0 on the Tristana now. Talofa, as in both series so far, he and Pedwink looking excellent here in the bot lane, building up big advantages all on their own, just with 2v2 kills. 92 to 67 in CS, 3-0 on the Tristana, and building up their gold lead in that bot lane to 1,600. Already a 3k gold lead for the side of Diggers Union, 6-1 in kills. No turrets just yet. Rengar hovering around mid. Echo does have flash available. No flash for the Yasuo for just a little bit longer. Some action here in the top lane. Looks like Gragas starting to do a little bit better. Actually ults the Ornn back under tower, but he won't take any shots. But actually, Deltrice is here, and Gragas still gets the kill. But he could be in trouble now. He'll actually use his stopwatch. No flash there, though. Deltrice having to get the kill, but Echo TP's in. He's going to get the counter kill onto Deltrice, who falls. So Deltrice does finish off the Gragas, but impressive work from Necroptix to get the early trade, and then the 1v2 kill takes down the Ornn before eventually falling, but that stopwatch bought just enough time for Kite to TP in and get another kill. 2-0 on the Echo. Kite starting to get a lead, just like he always seems to in these games. Pedwink spotted out the Morgana there, and they'll pick up the Infernal Drake. Kayn is rooted here. Ooh, they could look for something on Azur Candy, actually, but Vayne is running up. More fights here in the top lane. Necroptic's doing fairly well, actually. Does have the Iceborne Gauntlet now, a little bit more tanky. Won't help with some of that Ornn's magic damage, but now action in the bot lane. Flash in from Tristana. Great Brawl ulti. Morgana is already gone. We'll see if they try a dive onto the Vayne. Echo is here as well. Great stun from the Vayne. Kayn could be in trouble, and he is. He falls, so good counter kill from Bazanjosh on to the Kayn. Stunned him, condemned him into the wall, but does fall in the end, and that is a 4-0-1 Tristana with 106 CS. Not something that Outlaws fans will be wanting to see.
We're doing great up in the top lane on his own, but Gragas having 2 kills. Tristana having 4 kills. Kane, or not Kane.
W in. Actually, Deltris could be in trouble. He has to flash away to avoid that stun, that last prop. But now Gragas in a 1v2, running away from his tower, does have his flash available. Gets ulted. Ooh. But the Ignite was already down. Necroptics probably wasted flash there, dead regardless. So good work from Johnny and Zakam to get the Ignite. Flash and Ignite expended by Johnny, but they do get the kill. This Yasuo gets his first kill. Oh, but so much damage from Kite. Shuts down the Rengar right there. And now Kite 3-0. So this mid lane and bot lane, it's been the story throughout both these series for the Diggers Union. Getting Kite and Talofa fed, and boy, they are. And no one to answer on the side of the Outlaws just yet. Could have some action here, though. Kane 1v1ing the Ornn. We'll see if he can do it. He does have his ultimate available. And he'll use it now. So comes in. Does get hit by the Ornn ulti. He could be in trouble, and he falls! So doesn't time the ultimate quite right there. Actually comes out of it just as Ornn is able to redirect that ram and knock him down. And boy, he falls. And now Braum and Tristana coming in, and he does get ignited, the Ornn, so he will fall. And it looks like Pedwink will be okay as Kite picks up that mid lane turret. Ooh, Q will not connect there for the Yasuo as Talofa and Pedwink, that bot lane from Diggers Union, try to knock down this top lane turret. Rengar coming up there. He does have the ultimate available, but probably doesn't want a 1v2 right now. Echo fighting with the Yasuo, actually gets ulted by the Yasuo. We'll see. Ults back onto him, and now fighting him, and looks like he's looking to turn. Yasuo takes a tower shot and goes back into the stun. Ooh, bit of a misplay there, it looks like, but actually survives. Condemned into the wall by the Vayne, but Gragas actually gets a kill there in the bot lane. It's a bit of a misplay from the Yasuo, but manages to survive, and now we'll see what Morgana and Gragas can do. Looks like they'll just back away. Good Braum ulti. They'll catch the Rengar. Again, smites the blue buff, but Tristana says, I'll just take it from your dead body, and does indeed. And now they have eyes on the Rift Herald. Gold lead exploding now to 6.5k, 14-5 in kills. Another bloody game, but this one, Diggers Union with a lot cleaner of a lead being executed.
Kite has been having some lag problems. Could be why he was standing there for the majority of that Yasuo engagement. But definitely
almost won it anyway.
Yeah, really well played on the part of Kite. But this is a problem for the Outlaws here. Tristana 6-0, Kite 3-0. It's just not the win conditions that they're hoping for.
Ooh, Ornn is here. They're going to get the 2v1 on the Echo. He gets ulted. He's going to ult back out of the Yasuo. Has a lot of damage. Protobelt's back. He's on the run, but now Braum is here. Tristana jumps in. They get the kill on the Yasuo before Kite can get finished off. And now they're going to get the stun onto the Ornn. Rengar is here. They're going to look for the kill onto the Echo. But, wow, Rengar is stunned as well. Gets one auto, but it's not enough to kill Kite. So Kite miraculously survives as his bot lane rushes to his defense. And now that Tristana, Talofa 7-0-2. And now Ornn could be in trouble as they're looking for something, but no minion wave to back them up in this turret, and Morgana and Vayne are there. Braum's got to be careful, manages to dodge that Morgana binding. And it looks like Diggers Union is in retreat, but 16-5 in kills now, 7.5k in gold, 3 turrets to 0. The map is all open to them, and they have that Rift Herald.
Really well played by Kite there, really. Almost got caught out, but then the Tristana was there to save him. Unfortunate for the side of Outlaws. I think they played that pretty well in their own right, too. Good rotation, just unfortunately the same rotation coming out from the side of Diggers Union.
Absolutely. Both teams trying to help one another and be there. Now it looks like Gragas is exemplifying that, chasing down the Yasuo. TP coming in and Vayne is on the hunt, but Yasuo is on the wrong side of this, trying to E back into the minions. But now flashes from Kane. Action here at the bot lane. Kane ults onto the Morgana, who flashed away, and Kane gets the kill, and now he's fighting against the Rengar. Gragas and Echo up against the Ornn, and he falls. Rengar falls. Action in the jungle and in the bot lane, and now Yasuo backs as Braum is looking for a Vayne. Still chasing her, actually, but now taking a few too many tower shots. He's going to go ahead and back off there, but they get the kill onto the Rengar. They get the kill onto the Morgana. And the Ornn as well. So good work from Sir Cave there. Ooh, a flash ulti knocks the Vayne back. She ults herself, flashes away on the run, and actually ease the Echo back, but Gragas gets the kill, but does fall in return. So once again, Bazan Josh getting dove aggressively and gets a counter kill. Now Yasuo forced to flash as well. Stun does not connect, and now he's hungry for blood. Ults onto the Braum, who gets Morgana bound, and Yasuo will pick up the kill. Now Rengar jumping onto the Tristana, and he's going to fall. Just not quite enough damage to burst her.
This Rift Herald's going to do a lot of damage to the Nexus turrets.
It is indeed. They get that inhibitor in the mid lane turret. In the mid lane, rather, and now Kayn just gonna wander out with the entire team there. Oh, good binding from Berserk Candy onto the Kayn, taking so many tower shots, he just can't get out, and it is the Morgana picking up the kill. So a couple of counter kills, a couple of overstays here from Diggers Union, but they're still getting those objectives. They have the Infernal. They're going to get 6 turrets to 0. You have to imagine there's just no way to respond to Kite's Echo tearing down that turret with the Lichbane procs. He is going to be fearsome. 5-0-1 on the champ now, and now jumping on the Vayne and bursts her instantly. Heal still left up. No possible way to survive that. Kite knowing exactly what he can do. So 8-0-2 on the Triss, 6-0-1 on the Echo, and they're going to pick up a Mountain Drake with no Rengar nearby to even hope to steal. And now it is a 9k plus gold lead for Diggers Union. Ooh, Tristana up against Yasuo here. Gets ulted. Windwall blocked a couple of autos. Now it's going to be close, and Yasuo gets the kill. He ignited her. Extremely close fight. Talofa trying to get the autos, get around that wind wall, but it blocks just enough that Johnny can get the kill. 3-2 on that Yasuo. He's getting stronger. Vayne hoping to get more items too, but wow, what a lead. And now he's caught. He can't recall. Body slam and a Braum and a Gragas are just not going to let him get out. Meanwhile, in the top lane, that Ornn falls to another 2v1. They just don't fight fair. It's Echo and Kayn taking down Zakam's Ornn. So looks strong in lane on that champion, but repeatedly finds himself caught in bad situations, outnumbered in lane, and just taken down. Not a lot he can do, as Kayn is looking for a Rengar and appears to have found him. He'll just back away as Rengar ults. Now Vayne on the hunt. Gotta be careful with that Echo. She already knows how much damage he can do, and that was a couple of kills ago, as the Tristana has found the Rengar and is gonna get another auto. Doesn't even need the reset, just bursts him down with the bomb. And Braum, meanwhile, just having a jig there in front of the Gragas, who is happy to simply smack that turret with his head. Q will not connect onto the Ornn. Ooh, but now Ornn is going to get stunned. It's a 3v2 here. Ornn manages to get away, but a great Gragas ulti will knock him back into the enemy team, and Morgana has ulted, is going to trap that Braum under tower, but the stun still comes out, and it is Gragas who gets the kill, and Braum drops aggro in time and will not fall to the turret. So they get that bot lane inner turret, the last inner turret to fall, only inhibitor turrets. But wow, Vayne just dove by Kite again, just bursting her from nothing, and Deltrice falls prey to the same fate. No minions just yet, but there they are, and now they could be looking to end, as it's only Yasuo alive. Actually, Kite has to be careful. He does have ulti. Takes a few too many tower shots there. They're just looking to take this inhibitor turret in the bot lane and move to the inhibitor. Ornn is up, Morgana is up, Vayne and Rengar in 10 seconds. Ornn ulti comes out, looking for an engage here. Yasuo ult not used. And now they're just firing away at that Ornn. Very tanky, but Kayn and Tristana doing a ton of damage. Now they're on the hunt, and the ulti comes out from Yasuo just in time. Vayne is here to clean up. This could be trouble. Ulti onto the Ornn. Ornn is gone. Double kill from Tristana. Tristana firing away at the Vayne, and the body slam interrupts the Vayne, and she's gone. Gragas gets the kill there. Rengar kills the Kayn, though, and Rengar running away with that Black Shield and the bomb. He is going to live. Flash from Laguna to get out of there. A lot of chaotic action there, but in the end, it is Vayne who falls and Tristana who lives. That is those two hyper carries, and Tristana is just going to fire away at these Nexus turrets, and there's already super minions there, but they got to be careful. 10 seconds on the Vayne, and Rengar is here. He's going to look for a kill, looking for a double perhaps, but oh, the Tristana W's away, and he perhaps wanted too much there. I think he was looking for a double or to get the Tristana rather than the Gragas. Of course, Gragas stacking plenty of armor. He's going to be hard to burst down too. In the end, gets nothing and falls, but now Kite's in a tough spot. Ult's back, flashes out of the Vayne, still looking for her and gets her, and he's got that movement speed. He's going to get out just fine. Incredible work from Kite. Dodges the Yasuo Q, now going in again, gets bound by Morgana, though this could be trouble. He has no ulti available, and he is gone. Yasuo with the kill. Gragas providing moral support and a little bit of dancing. Dodges Morgana bind. Now body slams ults onto the Yasuo. A lot of damage there from the Gragas. Black Shield onto Yasuo. Ulti under the Gragas, but so much armor here. They've already stacked armor. They've reached that point where, boy, it looks like the Outlaws are just not doing much damage, but they're just free-firing away, and there's no damage there. Now the Tristana is there. Tristana is here for the double kill on the Ornn and the Yasuo, chasing the Morgana. This could be a quadra. This could be more. She gets the Morgana. That's a triple kill. Gonna be looking for the Rengar. Does not find her. Will they give her the quadra? She has the quadra. Vayne is waiting there. Ping's coming down. They want the Penta. They want to give it to her. Delofa's looking, Wing toward, and Vayne will ult and flash away. Doesn't want to give him the satisfaction as Echo. Kite is looking to TP in. The Nexus is falling. The gold lead is insurmountable. And a fountain dive! They're looking for it! They're looking for it! Pentakill for Delofa! What a team! What a team effort to get the Penta and the win. Wow, those are true teammates. The fountain dive for the Penta just in time. Congratulations to Delofa on your pentakill. 17-1-3 on the Tristana. Outrageous. And not only that, but of course his team triumphed. So a 2-0 victory in the first best of 3, a 2-0 in the second best of 3 means Diggers Union have made their way all the way from the first round of the losers bracket through that gauntlet to the grand finals. They get 2-0 and then they get another 2-0. So undefeated today are the Diggers Union, and they get their championship win today. They are your Party Brawl 5 champions. Congratulations to Zakam, or rather to Necroptics, Sir Cave, Kite, Delofa, and Pedwink on their win. Credit to Zakam, though. He did play that Ornn quite well. I was quite impressed there. So the swaps, the champion changes from the side of the Outlaws. You know, they put Johnny in the mid lane on the Yasuo, put Deltrius in the Rengar in the jungle. Some good catches from the Rengar, but overall, just not enough. Not able to get that Vayne or the Yasuo late game rolling. The armor stacking towards the end was a little bit disgusting, to be totally honest with you. Almost no damage being taken, even by the Braum, let alone the Gragas. Circavian picks up the Randuin's Omen to just mitigate some of that crit from the Yasuo, the Rengar, and the Vayne, who all built crit. And wow, just an incredibly clean, dominant win from the side of the Diggers Union. And they get the 4-0 today, as Blackwing Neo said in chat. Extremely impressive. And of course, my personal MVP has got to be Delofa, 17-1-3. Let's check out some damage charts here. Tristana doing 24,000 damage there. About 10,000 more than just about anybody save for Kite on the Echo, doing 18.4k and having some extremely impressive dives on his own. Some 1v5s where he just made it out somehow. Impressive work from the whole team overall. Congratulations again to the whole of Diggers Union on their victory in Party Brawl 5. I'll throw it over to you, Ao, for your MVP and thoughts on this exciting championship series that has finally concluded today.
I got to pick Tristana for the MVP here too. Built such a big lead down bot lane and was constantly the one accruing it. Kite most certainly performing excellently on the Echo, but it was Tristana who felt like the real danger of the team. Constantly never really dying. Dying once down to bot lane, sure, to a solo Yasuo. A great play on the behalf of Johnny, but aside from that, was a constant threat, did really well against the Vayne Morgana, did well to help Kite escalate his lead even further, and to throw a series MVP of both the previous previous series and this one, just combining them into one overall series. I'm gonna have to throw that one over to Kite because he's been a constant stable mid laner, hasn't really lost his lane yet, did excellently on the Katarina, excellently on the Echo, did pretty well in pretty much whatever he played, never really losing lane, constantly being his team's say win condition alongside Talofa. So series MVP goes to Kite, but the game MVP goes over to Talofa.
I agree wholeheartedly. Both Kite and Talofa, just incredibly talented carries there for the Diggers Union, doing a great job in every game, getting huge leads in both mid and bot lane and turning that into a victory. Credit to Necroptics as well, had some impressive plays on the Urgot and showed some good plays on the Gragas too. I loved some of those ultis, particularly knowing the exact amount of damage to finish off that Ornn there. It's so easy for the Gragas ulti to leave you with 1 health and knock you away, and then the question mark pings come out from your team. Didn't let that happen, played well in that champion. Overall, often was up against the Cam, who was a very formidable top laner and absorbed a lot of gank pressure, particularly in a lot of those games. And then usually in the late game, wound up having pretty significant impact in some of those fights. So good work from him. And Sir Cave as well. Definitely getting invaded and just bullied by the enemy jungler in the early game, with Kayn just having difficulties in that early game, but always coming back in the late game and just having an impact there, able to burst down some carries. So credit to him. And of course, Pedwink ever consistent there in the bot lane. He and Talofa winning their lane just about every single game. Looked great in the Rakan, looked great on the Braum too. So two kind of different styles of champions. Had some excellent Braum ultis too. I think a lot of them made me think like, oh, why did he ult there? And then within 5 seconds you say, oh, that's why, because then it sets up the kill. So, and then of course, Kite lastly, just winning lane, and I think the drafting phase alone illustrates at the very end how basically the Outlaws said, well, hey, Kite is just going to win lane, so let's quit banning him. I think that fact alone says, wow, what a mid laner if that's what the enemy team is left doing. Just, you know, banning against you is a lost cause. That's certainly a compliment. But congratulations to Diggers Union on that win, and my personal MVP of the game again is Talofa. MVP of the series, I'm actually going to give it to Pedwink. I certainly think that you could make a case for any of these players to be MVP of the series, but support myself, I'm a little bit biased, but I thought Pedwink was incredibly consistent throughout the series. They always won lane, particularly in the Blitzcrank game especially, just setting up Talofa to get fed on the Ezreal, just handing him those kills on a silver platter, and just great play overall. I think playing Rakan and Braum and Blitzcrank, playing all those 3 different champions, playing kind of this engage support, this hook support, and sort of this defensive techie support. 3 different styles in my opinion, and played all 3 really immaculately. So impressive performance for him. Credit to him and all of Diggers Union on the win. Again, congratulations to them on winning Party Brawl 5. Unfortunately, that is about all from us here, as that is all the League of Legends action for the day. We are all done. So sadly, we will have to sign off shortly. With that in mind, any closing remarks, Theo?
I hate Evelyn.
Well, Evelyn, not a factor today, but we'll wait and see. Perhaps a hidden factor on the Rift, a fan, you know, off the map cheering on Diggers Union, and that was the factor. Probably
Probably not.
well, we'll take a look at the replay and see, but you can take a look at the VOD, which we will upload to YouTube on our YouTube channel, Warriors of Ice here, as soon as possible. It should be up on our Twitch channel here, too, for you to see and relive the action. Definitely some exciting ones. Certainly, if you missed some of the earlier games, I encourage you to go back and watch. Just some great play overall. Some very back-and-forth games, some very bloody games mixed in there, but a fun one to watch for sure. So again, we are all done for today. So thank you to Becky and the Party People server for hosting Party Brawl 5 and having us on as casters. It's been a ton of fun to cast these tournaments and get a chance to watch them. Of course, thank you to all the teams for participating. It was just a lot of fun to watch you guys play, and it's so cool to watch these tournaments of people competing, you know, and going for the win, and teams playing more coordinatedly and seeing the pick and ban. It's so much fun to watch. So we really enjoyed it here, and thank you to everybody for watching the Twitch cast, and shout out to Blackwing Neo for providing a ton of helpful analysis and comments there in the Twitch chat. Very helpful, and overall, yeah, thank you to all you guys. That is all from us here. We will see you for the next Party Brawl, we hope.